2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's a violin prodigy. Her full name is Maggie the Stallion. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
History made, records broken. Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, LSU, Iowa, Elite Eight. 12 million viewers tuning in for this, Perloff. It's the most watched college basketball game on the women's side of all time. It toppled so many other sporting events in terms of how many people were watching this game. However, I think we reached the peak. I do think there was something very unique and special about this Elite Eight game that's not repeatable, at least not in the short term, and I think we did peak for this tournament. It's a great accomplishment. I'm not taking away from the women. I think this tournament has been fantastic. I just think we've seen the apex here.
What if Iowa beats UConn and goes against undefeated South Carolina, and South Carolina beats NC State? You're telling me that's not going to get a giant rating?
I don't think it's going to be as big, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I think South Carolina is an unreal story, but South Carolina reminds me of UConn a lot, which is the juggernaut team that for so long UConn was so super dominant, and it didn't lead to this ratings boom. Now, has it helped the sport rise as a whole? Of course it has. I'm not naive. But I think there's something about South Carolina being a Goliath, if you will,
right,
that's different than an individual rivalry that we saw between one player and another player, between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. You felt the passion between those two. You understood the backstory as opposed to Caitlin versus just this unreal super team, if you will, of South Carolina.
I think it's going to be 12 because last year they got 10 for LSU Iowa just to see Caitlin. And there was no rivalry before the game. No one knew that Angel Reese was going to John Cena up
give Caitlin
Clark.
Her own medicine.
So, and LSU is not a superpower in the sport by any means. Kim Mulkey is. But regardless, it was $10 million last year. they have to jump up a significant percentage from last year because now everybody's on board with Caitlin Clark. Everyone knows Caitlin Clark. Every casual fan. I saw our friend NFL Network's Kyle Brandt say, "This is my first time watching Caitlin Clark."
Yesterday?
Yeah, which is weird to me.
Kyle, where you been?
But my point is, do you know how many Kyles there are? There's tons of them. So you think that they're going to watch that LSU game and not watch them again, Caitlin again, on Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock? I think it's 3 o'clock. That's a perfect time. I think they can top this year. And not only that, I think they're going to continue this ratings trend upward. And maybe this will be the peak, but they're going to blow away numbers that they had 5 years ago before Caitlin. And I'll tell you why. The one thing is, Caitlin has raised all boats. Now we all know who Angel Reese is.
Sure.
She might come back. She decides today, right?
Yep. So today's the deadline to declare for the WNBA.
Right. And we all, and not we all, but a lot of people know who UConn's Paige Beckers is and USC's Juju Watkins. So I think that one of the reasons women's is trending up is we know the names because they stay. College basketball, we have no idea year to year. I mean, we might get Bronny next year. But other than that, I think that there's very few household names in college basketball.
You're right. We're talking about the huge rating that LSU and Iowa did in the Elite Eight. I think this has peaked for the tournament. Perloff thinks it's going to continue to climb. And I guess the reason is, again, those individual stars. And yeah, you might continue to watch Caitlin if you had just tuned in for the first time. So that game is actually Friday night.
Well, UConn is Friday night. I'm projecting forward to South Carolina.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
I got you. So I guess here's where I think that Caitlin herself is the singular and generational talent. I think that's clear as a bell.
Right.
UConn has like a history established. You know that's one of the premier programs in women's college basketball. Gino Auriemma with the 11 titles. So that might draw some people in. I don't think that the women's team that goes for undefeated, the women's team that is the Goliath team, they just don't. We've seen this in the past. They're popular, sure. They're exciting, no doubt. But that doesn't grab people in the same way that Caitlin and Angel did. And I do think that the personality of Kim Mulkey definitely played into it also because people remembered her from Baylor, but that was her first year at LSU. So then she's coming over to win a title. I mean, and now that this was her second season, there just was so much that was on that game that I don't feel the same tension, quite frankly, between maybe Caitlin and Paige Beckers. That's fun because it's like mano a mano, the two of the best players in college hoops. But I don't feel that same tension necessarily with Caitlin in South Carolina, even though Caitlin beat South Carolina last year. I just don't feel that same, must see this like I did Caitlin and Angel.
Well, I understand what you're saying. I disagree. I think it's all Caitlin. In the sense that last year blew away any record. Nobody. There was no Angel Reese Caitlin Clark fight before the game.
That's true.
And Caitlin just became this phenomenon in part because they beat South Carolina, who they were 11-point underdogs. That was a huge upset win. I think Caitlin is singular here, so I think that's why they hold on this year. And there's going to be at least, they're going to be somewhere near 12 million. There's no way that they fall off just because Angel Reese isn't in here. And also, too, I expect if they do go to Sunday, there's going to be some inflammatory remarks from South Carolina about this game too. They're gonna say
revenge factor.
Oh, I think they've
already won.
That revenge factor, but they're gonna say, why is Caitlin Clark getting all the attention? You know that's gonna happen too, or somebody's gonna say that because people just can't enjoy the basketball here. It has to be way bigger. So I think that there's going to be some fighting, and it's going to be awesome.
And we get bigger storylines.
Yeah. By the way, that's a big if because UConn's pretty good too. If Iowa loses on Friday night, that's a huge disappointment for the CBS team. But the point is, I don't think it was the Angel Reese Caitlin Clark that got 10 million last year, which was by far a recent ratings high. There's some old games that used to get more than that with Cheryl Miller.
Yeah, right, the 80s.
But I think
again, that shows how rare this is. Right.
But I totally agree. So Caitlin Clark is singular. But I mean, you're talking about next year. Now, all of a sudden, we're seeing all these players in commercials everywhere.
Yeah.
I think that Caitlin Clark has raised the boat.
She has. I just think we're seeing the peak. 855-2124-CBS if you want to weigh in. We're talking about record rating for LSU Iowa, 12 million people.
Raise the boat is not the exception.
It's raise the tide?
all boats raise the
You're the writer around
sea
here.
level.
Raises all boats.
Yeah, thank you, Edie.
A high tide raises all boats.
There you go.
We've got one
Wow.
Ivy League educated writer. We've got one journalism school professor, and we can't get this right. And Pete. And Pete.
Yes, the boat rises the sea level.
Thank you. What would we do without you? There's another part of this, too. I don't know if you saw this headline as we're talking about LSU and Iowa breaking this all-time record in terms of ratings. This was the most bet on women's basketball game of all time.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like we can't go a day without a betting story in baseball and sports. Last week it was baseball. The last 2 weeks with Ipe and Shohei, and then it was basketball with Porter, Michael Porter's brother from the Toronto Raptors, which we're still waiting. You've mentioned the Temple basketball scandal, maybe one of the more underreported scandals. I mean, who knows how deep that's going to go. There's like two parts of the betting aspect here with women's hoops. One is that more betting, and we've just seen this already from people in sports who are telling us, fans are speaking out and getting on these players and coaches in a new type of way. The head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, J.B. Bickerstaff, said that somebody got a hold of his cell phone number and was harassing him because some players didn't hit their props because he subbed them out of a game or whatever. I mean, Angel Reese was talking yesterday about how the social media has really had an impact on her mental health.
Yeah, she should read my mentions, by the way.
You want to compare?
Oh.
There might be a little different in tenor.
Yeah,
tone.
but the utter hatred I've gotten for 10 years on social media, you're right. It's way
not
worse.
Great.
It's way worse, but we all, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, no, being in the public eye, there's definitely a part of it that comes, but the betting, no one is relying on you for their prop bet.
Well, yeah, but the counter argument on this betting is clearly the ratings have gone up. I mean, this men's tournament has gone crazy ratings, and I think that's mainly because of the betting. So betting definitely helps ratings. If we're getting back to ratings, if you could bet on the game, you have to watch it. So this is good. If you want high ratings, betting is good.
Right.
But you're saying the downside, what's the difference? I mean, Temple basketball just seemed to be throwing games according to the evidence we know now. And then the ratings are bananas for the men's tournament because everyone's betting on these games.
No, I get it. But I think there's something about, and we're talking about LSU and Iowa, all-time game in terms of ratings, but also all-time games in terms of bets placed on a women's college basketball game. And I think don't we generally have a different threshold, and maybe I'm naive here, about how we criticize professional players versus how we criticize college players. Now, listen, watch a college football game on a Saturday night in the fall and a kicker misses a game winner and that kid basically can't walk through campus the next day. I understand that this is bad and has been bad for a long time, but there's an extra level of vitriol, that a layer on top of it that comes from, at times, some people in the betting community. So it's like, yes, you want to get the increased ratings and the increased exposure, just understanding that this part of it may come as well, and it likely will.
Yeah, if I'm powers to be with women basketball, I take it. If I'm a player and you're going to give me $2 million of NIL because everyone's betting, I take that handoff. Would you rather have them betting and ratings go up and get yelled at on social media? Unless you're physically threatened. That's a totally different thing. But I understand. I mean, listen, I watched the other day, I was watching an NBA game and Kevin Durant was arguing with the fans.
Yep.
Like, this is your job. You're supposed to get yelled at by the fans. That's why you get millions of dollars. And I understand there are a lot of opinions on this, but I just take the heat. Take the heat. So what if somebody's yelling at you on Twitter? What on earth does that have anything to do when you cash that paycheck?
Well, I think people would say that they don't want to be harassed, that it can actually impact your mental health. You know, even if you understand this comes with the territory or whatever, reading it still can have an impact on you. There's a way, there's like that some things kind of cut through. I don't know. Yeah. And again, we're talking about the LSU Iowa all-time ratings bonanza for that game, but also most bet on game in women's college hoops history. I don't know if you do this with your mentions or anyone else who's in the public eye, but I could have 15 things that people say that are nice. Yeah. And the one thing that someone says that's mean is the one that's going to stay with me. Yeah. It's something about the human brain or my brain or whatever. The good stuff I don't really see. I only see the bad stuff. And I think that can wear on people no matter what your age, but especially young people. I think that it's, it definitely impacts your mental health for sure. So again, that's just another layer with the betting. Meanwhile, if you want to watch our show, because we are just good-looking people. Come in and watch our show. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio, Twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio. Daly's giving you a compliment, Perloff.
What do you say?
Perloff takes a lot of shots from everyone, and he handles it with class and silence. Smart guy.
Oh, yeah. I'm cashing in on that social media following. No, I'm not. But I do think you have to be able to take these shots. There is this weird crowd on social media who just says the meanest things because they have that anonymity of the computer, which, by the way, and I wanted to step back. One thing, whatever Angel Reese is seeing is way, way different.
The death threats being sexualized. And no one's asking
and
for
also
that.
the volume of tweets she must get. What I worry about is it off of social media too? I wonder in person, does she feel, she walks into a restaurant, I wonder if she's like, wow, is somebody weird here eyeing me? So there's so much more going on. So, but regardless though, I do think all the scrutiny and betting and high ratings, like there's going to be a lot comes with that.
Yeah.
I mean, Caitlin Clark has a lot of pressure on her. I think Angel Reese has a lot of pressure on her. But the thing is, they're going to get paid for that.
Yeah.
That's what happens. I mean, Luka Doncic is about to sign a $370 million contract. What the heck does he care if you hate him on Twitter?
You call him fat. 855-212-4CBS. And that's not nice. And he's not.
Oh.
And I just...
Did you guys hear that shot right there?
No.
Yes, I heard it.
And I'm not a weight shamer at all.
Luka looks good right now.
But that would be the one thing you might say.
He looks really good now. I think he might have dabbled in the Ozempic this season.
He's the kind of guy that seems like he can take it and dish it as good as anybody.
Well, that's the other part of it too. I've got
that's
an
a good
update
point.
for you on that story.
About athletes taking Ozempic?
No, but a little offshoot of that. We have a lot to do today.
Because somebody's got to get my man Joel Embiid some Ozempic too. He is coming off the injuries. He's carrying way too much weight. He's gigantic.
He hasn't played in months.
I know. There's
he can't
no
do cardio.
way. Yeah. Well, you have a hurt knee. I don't know. Do that thing where you turn the with your arms, where it's like a bicycle for the arm.
Yeah, bicycle for the arms. There's always at my gym. It's always the oldest person who's on that thing.
Joel would be great.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, I have never seen a more out of shape player than Joel Embiid last night. He was sucking wind. He had his hand on his knees the whole time.
Played him 30 minutes. Maybe you didn't have to do that.
I don't know how we got here. Oh, yeah, because you were weight shaming Luka Doncic.
I'm sorry. We were actually talking about LSU and Iowa. We weren't weight shaming anybody. Most highest rated women's basketball game, women's college game of all time, and also the most bet on women's college game of all time. We see you guys on the phones. We'll get to you in just one moment. 855-212-4CBS if you want to weigh in. I think this has peaked for the women's tournament in terms of the ratings because it was the singular moment. Forgive me. It was Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. You had the rivalry. You have Kim Mulkey. She is a very polarizing figure. And then you had the rematch from last year's title game. I don't know if Caitlin Clark against UConn holds the same way. I don't know if Caitlin Clark against South Carolina even holds the same way. I just think people were tuning in, yes, for Caitlin, but also for Angel. Perloff thinks this just keeps going. This is a runaway train for this tournament. Up and up and up.
Well, the officials need to help Iowa get out of this game Friday night.
Well, they've been helping them all year.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Gino is going to scheme up something against Iowa. I'm a little nervous.
I don't think you're going to get the same defensive scheme.
No, I think he learned a couple lessons.
855-212-4CBS. Okay, coming up, Andrew Bogish is back with us and apparently not happy with the show. So we've got some internal show beef. If that's your kind of thing, stay tuned. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Interesting show discussion that carried into the break. Why would professional athletes not take Ozempic, which is a very popular and growing weight loss drug that a lot of people are taking? It's helping a lot of people lose weight. It feels like, to me, a natural fit for athletes because there are certain players who have trouble keeping off the weight and makes them very injury prone, and teams invest a lot of money in these players. They want them thinner.
Right.
I'm thinking of a certain center for my Philadelphia 76ers who made his return last night has talked about trouble staying thin and therefore injury prone. So I think Ozempic for athletes makes perfect sense.
Right. Joel Embiid, who has had knee issues and things that only get worse if you're carrying a lot of weight. Can I tell you why you may not want to know? We're not doctors around here at all. And do you want to guess some of the side effects of one of these
I'm great at
drugs?
side effects. I can tell you already.
Okay. We've all heard these commercials where you do the drugs and then the side effects of the drugs. So Would you
Right,
like to
it's like-
guess some of the side effects from one of these weight loss drugs?
Oh, right. Yeah, like this drug,
May
side
cause-
effects goes 4 out of 10 people have complete organ failure.
Right. Like vivid dreams.
Yeah. Well, diarrhea is with every drug.
You are okay.
Number
Tick
one.
off diarrhea. This is the bingo card of side effects from some of these weight loss drugs that Perloff wants
Yeah,
Joel
yeah, yeah.
Embiid to be on.
Diarrhea is a
Diarrhea
given.
for sure.
I mean, if you're going to take a drug, you have a little diarrhea. It's a trade-off.
But because this is the side effect of one of these pharmaceuticals, it's not only diarrhea. It's also
blank leaking.
nope. It's not only diarrhea, but also constipation.
Oh,
so
yeah.
good luck with that. You never know which one's gonna hit. Both are bad. Both will put you in a bad spot.
Yeah. There's way worse than diarrhea too. If you watch, I think the Skyrizi ad has one of these things.
You want to guess another one?
Okay, so depression, that's a given.
I don't see depression, but I do see dizziness.
Dizziness,
We're
okay.
kind of the side effects of these weight loss drugs.
Dizziness.
Perloff wants Joel Embiid to start taking Ozempic.
They won't list it, but you're definitely going to have sexual impotency, which is a given with pretty much any drug.
You know, I can't find impotency, but I can give you gallstones.
Yeah, gallstones. You'll take a few gallstones.
Also, loss of appetite. It's like, yeah, right. Isn't that the whole point of the drug? We're talking about Ozempic. Of course, you're gonna. That shouldn't be a side effect. That
My
should be the
favorite
whole
one.
damn thing.
The best one is every drug. Say, I'm going to use Skyrizi, for example. It's like, don't take Skyrizi if you are allergic to Skyrizi. Well, thank you. You have to say that?
Also, how do I get tested for that? Here's another one. Lump. What's that?
Oh, I don't know. Just lump?
Just lump. And then the last one I found was interesting.
lump.
Also, fatigue. So that's not good for a professional
yeah.
athlete if you want to take Ozempic. And then the other is burping.
That's fine. I'm lucky. I'll bet you there are multiple professional athletes who are already on Ozempic. Many. I would guarantee. I mean, I'm not saying Luka Doncic is, but Luka Doncic looks like a different person.
So what we need to do is we need to find people who we know who are beat reporters, cover teams on daily basis, and ask them if they can start sniffing around for who's on Ozempic. Because, you know, our job here is to really cover a wide range of things, you know.
But I think athletes will not admit that. But because if
There's
you're
no stigma.
But if you're a professional athlete, you should not need a weight loss drug. You're presumably working out every day.
Oh, I think the opposite. I think people would say, this guy's all in. This guy cares so much about winning for my team. He's willing to do whatever it takes.
You're telling me a professional athlete should need presumably you are in tip-top shape. You shouldn't need that drug because you're working out like crazy. I mean,
Everyone's got a different body type.
I don't know. I don't know anyone who doesn't lose 20 pounds during a basketball or football season. Even football, those linemen desperately struggle to keep weight on because they're exercising so much. Yeah, that's kind of weird to me. Maggie, if you're a pro athlete, look at LeBron puts $1 million into his body every offseason. Hit a exercise bike. Order a salad.
Oh, man. 855-212-4CBS. We started off the show talking about LSU and Iowa. The women's Elite Eight game got a record number of viewers, which is over 12 million. That's the most of any women's college basketball game of all time, and also was the most bet on women's college game of all time. Brad is in Sacramento, wants to talk about the women's game. Hey, Brad, how are you?
Pretty good. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. What's on your mind?
Hey, my question to you was, do you think the viewers will follow like Caitlin Clark into the WNBA? Because I have to say, it seems like we're watching Michael Jordan here in college. She's that awesome. I've never been interested in women's sports until now, and man, it's just awesome.
Brad, I think that the WNBA is hoping,
I guarantee,
praying that more men like you do follow Caitlin to the WNBA.
I will guarantee they follow her to WNBA. I will bet anybody here a whole year long worth supply of Ozempic that WNBA they will shatter all their TV ratings next year.
Okay.
And it won't even be close.
Man, I'm going to sound like a hater here, but I've just got to say what I think. I don't think it's going to be the same. And here's why. There is something that is so special about what's going on with the women's game, not just because Caitlin's rise. We like this. We like watching people come back year after year. We like the teams, even if there's some turnover, we like seeing some of the same faces over and over again. Even if you don't know everyone on the Iowa team, some of these girls look really familiar from last year. You know the coach who's there. You know some of these personalities. You're talking about LSU, Angel, Flau'jae Johnson. We know these chicks now. And I say that I think it gives people this sort of nostalgia for what we loved about men's basketball. back in the 90s and 80s, which is the team stayed together for so long, which there's no longer the one and done. I do think there's something we love about college when it comes to this, and I don't know if the WNBA gets that same love. Again, the rising tide is happening. More people are watching, season tickets being sold, all these positive things for the WNBA, but there's something about this and about it being college, in my opinion.
I totally disagree. The Indiana Fever's first game is going to set every WNBA.
Okay, what about the 10th game?
Maybe not the 10th game, but it's still the cumulative effect over the season. WNBA is going to have its biggest year. And also, the networks aren't dumb. They're going to promote it way more and put it in nice spots for TV.
Sure.
You're going to see nothing but Caitlin Clark ads on ESPN.
So there's another thing. It's a summer league, which is a little tougher. So again, we're getting a little behind the curtain here, but obviously more people are home watching TV in winter months than they are in summer months in the Northeast. I know for sure, wherever you have seasons. And I think there's another part about this. I think the Olympics is probably going to get a boost here and a bump for the women's Olympic team if Caitlin's on it and playing.
Yeah.
But a regular season Indiana Fever, New York Liberty game, maybe. Well, the Liberty are a super team, but
if you compare it to the bar where it is now, whatever the highest rated WNBA game is, double it.
I was going to ask you about that, though, because I think the Indiana Fever aspect of it, because we are moving it to WNBA, is important. Because, one, you're talking about a smaller market, a basketball craze market, but a smaller market, one. And two, a bad team. They have Aaliyah Boston, who's a mega star in college basketball as well, but is only a rookie now entering her second year. How long do you feel like they can be mediocre or even bad before people tune out? Or do you think that Caitlin Clark can just go there and they start winning? Because my thing is, the question I would have is, if this is a 16 and 15 team or a 500 team for 2, 3, 4 years, does that audience that came to watch Caitlin win leave when they don't win immediately?
I think the audience, it's a good question. I think the audience finds her when they're on ABC on a Sunday afternoon and when the game is just right in front of you and very easy to find and you don't have to look for it. It's not on ESPN2 and, whatever. If it's just right there in front of your face, I think they're going to do okay. But I don't know if they're 15 and 16. Are people going to go seek it out?
I disagree because I think ESPN's going to put it in your face every time she plays. You're going to see so many promos. She's in every ad. She's already in every ad.
Yeah.
They're going to double down on that. And what else is on ESPN in the summer? It's nothing but women's
You don't like
softball.
You don't like the X Games?
It's all softball. I mean, honestly, 80% of the ESPN content is either Little League World Series or women's college softball, which is awesome because the infielders are so close, and that's sort of catching fire too. I think the promotion's going to help because when ESPN sees a winner, I mean, they strangle it.
They double down. So we're talking about Caitlin Clark and her future, and will fans follow her to the WNBA? Andrew Bogish is here and back with us. You had been filling in for Bill Ryder, who comes on after us on many of these CBS sports radio stations. We missed you, Bogues.
Did you, Margaret? Did you?
Margaret.
Oh, no. Maggie's in trouble.
How am I in the crosshairs here? What did I say? I said, you tell me, what did I do wrong?
I was sitting outside Monday morning enjoying your show, minding my own business. And then I heard what I agree with it at the beginning, that you guys should wait for all of us to be back together for Perloff to be king for the day. And I shouldn't miss out on punishments, embarrassment. And I agree with that. But then, and then, Margaret, you shifted into saying that I was dodging said punishment.
Thought you were.
Now, let's walk through this.
I did think you may have been dodging it.
How could I have... So I got Bill Ryder to take off for an entire week.
Yes. You cut the brakes on Bill Ryder's car.
Okay.
To fill in for him Monday and Tuesday.
And last Friday I wasn't here because of a trip that would have been planned before you came up with the king of for the day idea.
I know, you do look tan. Were you somewhere?
No, that's the high blood pressure that's coursing through my body right now. So I took it very personally that I was being accused
of dodging.
Because in the history of CBS Sports Radio, I have taken punishments like eating sardines on the air and almost dying. I have eaten hot salsa.
Almost dying.
I have walked around this building in an Easter Bunny costume, handing out Easter candy to bosses who I had never met until that moment.
By the way, they love that.
I have paid hundreds of dollars to settle a beer bill for bets. So if there's one thing I am is I pay my dues. I don't dodge things. If I owe something punishment, you're getting it. So for you to sit here Monday without a chance for me to respond in the moment, I I don't know, Maggie. It's just personally disappointing.
I apologize. I thought you were dodging because I thought maybe erroneously that you may have been one of the people who was pushing for the Monday Perloff being king for a day, not Friday. But then I remember you're not here Friday either.
Yeah.
I thought you were pushing for the Monday. I'm like, oh, convenient that Bogish would have been pushing for Monday when he wasn't going to be on the show. But now that I know that a Bogish always pays their debts.
Always.
I apologize for calling you a dodge.
Thank you,
So
Maggie.
that means, though, I'm king for a day. I'm going to do it tomorrow. That I need to really up the bar for what I'm going to make you do.
Wait, are you with us tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yes.
Yes.
Friday, no.
So when we did this at Dan Patrick Show, we would ever say there was a stakes, a bet. Everyone would call in or email in and say, make them shave an eyebrow. That was probably 70% of the suggestions.
Yeah.
That's part
Would you
of the
be
social
willing to
media
shave
harassment.
an eyebrow
No.
for the show? Would you said you'd pay off any bet?
No, I said I pay off things when they're required as if we agreed on them. I didn't agree to shave off
But I'm king for a day. I can make you do whatever I want.
Yeah. To a certain extent.
Yeah, I know.
Also, here's the thing about king for a day. This kind of feels like it's here to stay. So you could say, oh, you got to shave an eyebrow, but this could very well come around back to you where you're shaving 2 eyebrows.
Yeah. I look like Pink Floyd, the movie The Wall, which EJ laughs at. He has no idea what I'm talking about. The 1980 film with Bob
None of
Geldof. Nope. The guy goes crazy and shaves his eyebrows, and it's super disturbing. Anyway, no, we should have a rule on the wall. No one ever has to shave an eyebrow. Can we just start with that?
No one was talking about it until you brought it up.
It is, trust me, the crowd was going to go there. If there's ever, put out, what should the punishment be? You will get shave an eyebrow, shave an eyebrow, shave an eyebrow.
But you realize this is a little Chekhov's gun. Like now you brought up the eyebrow being shaved. It has to pay off
That's
an
a
act
line
3.
that no radio show will ever cross.
Shaving an eyebrow?
Yeah, I don't think even, the McAfees of the world will do anything, but I do not think shaving an eyebrow has ever happened.
We do
in
way
media.
bigger stuff
Wait
in
a minute,
McAfee.
wait a minute. I
Yeah.
shaved my head. I shaved my head with a
For a
supermodel.
bet?
Didn't have to do it. Did it.
Was it a bet though?
Wasn't a bet, but I did it. That makes it even more so.
Well, but-
I did it on my own.
First of all, you look better with a shaved head, so it was a
do.
win in that regard.
Yeah.
And then it was a
But I
double
resi-
win for a
I re-
supermodel touching your head.
But I resisted it at the time.
Yeah, but it's not the same thing.
Which supermodel?
Sarah Sampaio. We
Yeah,
talked
we
about
talked
this
about
last week.
Who?
Yeah.
Thanks.
How about some headlines? Wait,
Sure.
do you accept my apology?
I do.
Okay.
Yes. Headline sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career path with flexibility and great pay and benefits? Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today. When I heard this Monday night, I nodded knowingly. Not everybody else did.
By the way, good luck finding something to do in Albany.
Rebecca Lobo said that on ESPN when telling a story how Caitlin Clark's family had been asking her to hang out in Albany in between games, but Clark preferred to stay at the hotel with her teammates. And again, not everyone liked Lobo's shot at Albany, the state capital of New York. One bar owner demanded an apology and said bars and restaurants should cancel their ESPN subscriptions, while a 96-year-old Albany native said the city is, quote, a live wire, and if Lobo can't find fun there, quote, there's some psychological problem going on, so at least nobody overreacted to the tiny shot at Albany.
Please cancel ESPN. These bars, please cancel it.
What else are you going to show? CBS?
Right.
There you go. You can put CBS on.
Also, breaking news, you can't just call up DirecTV and go, I don't want ESPN anymore. If you want to cancel ESPN, then you can't have TV. It
can
just
turn the
comes with the
channel.
package.
We could turn the channel.
But you're
like,
still
right.
paying for it.
But this-
that's how ESPN got so
Yeah.
rich.
Let me ask you a question. I've never been to Albany. Is it?
It's a fine upstate town.
Is it a bit slow though? Are there a lot of restaurants,
That's one way to
bars?
call it. Slow, yeah.
It is a fine, just fine upstate town.
Albany's fine. The University of Albany, which I visited as a high school student, I never wanted to leave a campus faster than Albany.
Wait, why?
It's just all concrete buildings, nondescript. The weather was terrible. It was just, no thanks.
But
Wait,
like
but you
saying-
end up going to Fordham.
Which is a beautiful
I know, but
green grass,
Well, the
old
weather
buildings.
Yeah, the weather is definitely better in New York City than
All right,
upstate.
we're
Yes.
getting a little hyper specific, but
Yeah.
I think that if you are sitting in listening to us in Boise, Idaho, you're thinking New York City has a lot more concrete than Albany.
No.
That
There's
campus
there's
is
a difference.
different.
Yeah, it's completely soulless. No, thank you.
Oh my gosh, that's a worse shot than Lobo.
Yeah, I'm fine. It's just the school. The school itself. Not my cup of tea.
Wow.
Well, what do you want him to say? It was excellent. I had never had a better time. I mean, come on.
Well, look,
Albany's just taking strays.
if we want to keep it real about Albany, there was someone, I think it might have been Perloff who said, hey, Caitlin Clark's going to be in Albany. Should we all go up?
It was me.
Oh, it was Maggie. Yeah, it was Maggie. He said, should we all go up and maybe watch these games in person? And me and Perloff could not have said no fast enough.
You guys didn't even entertain that for 1 second.
It's a tough commute. That's the only thing.
It's 2.5 hours.
I
it wasn't a commute for me, trust me.
Well, we do a show at 6 a.m. Eastern.
That would have been a little tough.
It's a little tough.
That Albany affiliate.
Would have been an all-nighter. I don't get this. So what the heck is Rebecca Lobo doing in any town? I mean, I don't care if Rebecca Lobo's going to Miami or Vegas. You think she's not going out? I don't even understand what.
Maybe she's like a night person. I don't know. I'm a little shocked.
Rebecca Lobo is not clubbing. I mean, have you been to a club and seen the 6'5" mother of 3 or whatever she is? Just
Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
It's a fair question. What's she looking for that Albany doesn't have?
Yeah, I mean, isn't she married to Steve Russian, the former SI?
I think they're still married.
Yeah, she's kind of a nerd. I don't understand what she's talking about here.
I don't think she's a nerd. I think she's a jock.
She is a nerd.
No, Rebecca Lobo is she's a baller.
Yeah.
She's not a nerd.
Dude.
What?
She's stuffing people in lockers.
Yeah.
I think her and her husband, Steve Russian, sit around playing word games at home
I
at
think
night.
Steve's
on
a
a Friday.
Steve's a nerd.
You got to watch that 30 for 30 on the 96 women's U.S. team.
She's out there clubbing?
No, well, I watched with my girlfriend, and when she saw Rebecca Lobo, she's like, wow, that chick is cool.
She is cool.
Yeah.
I think Rebecca's out.
Yeah,
I think she's trying to dine at nice restaurants and trying to, she's a huge celebrity, too.
Absolutely.
It's probably cool to be Rebecca Lobo.
No way.
Yeah,
She has 4 kids. There's no way she's out clubbing.
No,
Come
do
on,
you
maybe that's the
understand?
reason why.
Yes, she gets away from the house.
Right.
Now she's got an award-winning journalist husband, Steve Russian. He can watch the kids for a little bit, and she's got mom's night out. Do you understand mom's night out? Half the moms end up dancing on a table on mom's night out.
She's got 72 hours in a city. She doesn't want it to be Albany. That's the problem.
Oh, my gosh.
She needs Vegas.
Now
you
they
guys
go to
are
Cleveland.
crazy. You're painting.
Cleveland, though, is probably like Paris compared to Albany, if we're being real. But I think Albany is nice.
You think Rebecca Lobo's like James Harden, like staying out till 5? Get out of here.
She's not a geek. I mean, no way.
She definitely is.
Holding up like a stack
huge
of wad
nerd.
of bills.
She's a bigger nerd than me. Rebecca Lobo is not. There's nothing cool about Rebecca Lobo.
Oh, I think you are wrong.
You are absolutely bugging.
I think she's got to defend herself that she's actually
She's
cool.
awesome. She's great. She's a great broadcaster. But if you could show me a picture of her at a nightclub in the last 10 years, then I will take it all back.
Well, maybe she's slick like that. Maybe she's going through back doors. Maybe she got private rooms.
Yeah, real
she doesn't want her
G's
business.
moving silence like lasagna.
She doesn't
Perloff.
want, her business out there.
Well, she played in New York for many years.
That's
There's
true.
no chance in the world she hasn't been at a club.
Thank you, Pete.
And she's a star. It wasn't like she was like a bench warmer. Like she was a star.
You guys do not know Steve Russian. That is all I will say.
Maybe it's like a May-December kind of relationship.
Opposites attract,
Yeah,
right? Like the jock likes the nerd likes the jock. That happens all the time. That's easy to explain.
Steve Russian could be playing Parcheesi while she's out at the club. I mean, it happens.
Steve's at home playing solitaire. Rebecca Lobo dancing on a banquet to,
And you're kind
back
of
that thing up.
You're describing my marriage, basically. I'll be home playing video games. My wife will be out until 4 in the morning.
Ciara and Russell Wilson. I mean, don't give me the spouse is the geek. That's why she's a geek. I'm not accepting that.
Actually, do you remember when Bogish told us the story about they hosted a party and you took one shot at tequila and had to go to bed?
That was an accident.
And your wife stayed up till 5?
Yeah.
Meant to drink
an
milk,
accident.
but
Just like, by the way, remind us if we ever go out partying, let's invite Mrs. Bogish and leave Andrew Bogish at home.
That's true. I'll watch all the kids. You leave them in that.
All
at
right,
my house.
Albany's on the line. Steve, stand up. Tell us why Rebecca Lobo was wrong about Albany. Steve, you there?
Hello?
Yes, Steve.
Oh, I'm here. Okay, yeah. While there's not a lot of 5-star restaurants around here. I didn't grow up around here. I moved here like 5-6 years ago. There's a lot of really good to eat at restaurants. The clubs, I don't really go to the clubs or anything, but like if you only look for 5 stars and stuff like that, sure, there's probably none of those. But there's plenty of like hometown, family-owned restaurants and stuff that have really, really good food. It's not like apparently she's only looking for clubs and 5 stars.
Right, but how about a mom and pop, charming? Steve, I love it. And, as an upstater myself, proudly born and raised in Binghamton, where Albany, again, is like going to London for us, is amazing. But yes, you can. You get there like, wow, what are these buildings? But I think that this is true. You can find a great. It doesn't have to be BLT steak or something with Odell Beckham dining at the next table, and it can still be awesome.
Yeah, I've stayed upstate for several vacations in the last few years, and that is the one thing I can say. You can find really great mom and pop,
especially Italian
restaurants.
food. Oof,
yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely.
Because that's where I want to go on vacation, to find the 4-star, 3-star restaurants over the 5-star restaurants. Got it. Okay.
And Pilati had such champagne taste.
No, I'm just saying.
You go see The Rock in Brooklyn on Monday night and come home with all these expensive tastes.
Barbados or Albany? I mean, it's a tough choice, I know, but I mean, I'm going to probably go to Barbados.
They call Albany the Barbados of
the Rust Belt.
Of all the upstate towns, it is the Barbados.
Very nice people up there, but you know what? I'm going to go to Barbados.
Thank you. Thank you, Bogish. Lots more to do, including a legend from the Green Bay Packers taking a shot at the team. Didn't see this coming. 855-212-4CBS. It's Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. A little surprised by this one, Perloff, and this was Clay Matthews the third. Clay Matthews, who played, obviously, for the Green Bay Packers, an amazing career. On social media, and I believe this was yesterday, so it was a story about Packers head coach Matt LaFleur, who said that he was surprised that Aaron Jones ended up getting released by the team.
Right.
And of course, the team brings Josh Jacobs aboard and signed him to a 4-year deal. I believe $48 million, something like that. And how how LaFleur was like blindsided by that news. So here's Clay Matthews on social with a rookie, and he put an asterisk, QB, like we know Jordan Love's not an actual rookie, but his first year starting. With a rookie QB, young receiving core, and Watson injured, Jones was, all caps, Green Bay's offense. He even took a pay cut to stay with the team in 2023, ! But I digress. I find the lack of communication between head coach and GM to be wild. LaFleur has been one of the most successful coaches and doesn't have a say, ? Exclamation point, and then a bunch of emojis. Like, he's generally concerned about this.
Yeah.
Now, add on top of it, this was Matt LaFleur, the head coach, doing an interview with our pal Kevin Clark on his show, and he was asked who the toughest player is he ever coached.
He's a badass football player.
Oh, wow. Wait, stop it for a second. Yeah, sorry, Pete. I should set it up more. He asked, who's the toughest player you've ever coached in your life? And LaFleur says, Aaron Jones, the guy who he was just blindsided that he was released from the team. Now he can play.
He's a badass football player.
Oh, wow.
So, but, yeah, for a guy that's 190 pounds and just the beating that the runners take in general, I mean, it's like a car crash every time they get tackled. So I think, honestly, just his ability to come back from, I thought he shredded his knee earlier this year when we were playing the Chargers, and his ability to, I still don't know how he didn't get severely injured on that play, but his ability to come back later in the year.
Oh, this is somebody who sounds like he has all the respect in the world for Aaron Jones. And I thought everything was really good in Packerland. They had gotten through the Aaron Rodgers mess and all of that drama. They put together this incredible season where they had, were a couple plays away, a drive away from going to the NFC Championship game.
Right.
This was interesting from Clay Matthews to call out the team and say, what's going on between the head coach and the GM?
I like everything I'm hearing for the Packers. Clay Matthews' quote said, oh, my God, Aaron Jones did everything for the team. Yeah, that's why you're getting rid of him. You got the best. It's a running back game. You get the best out of him, and then you get rid of him. That's what you do. And I think, LaFleur said this last week at the breakfast meeting, and nobody in Green Bay land seemed to care because everyone thinks they're upgrading Josh Jacobs. So I think the general thing is LaFleur is saying this because he wants to be nice to his former player who sacrificed a lot. But I think if you pull back, it's obviously the smart move. Aaron Jones has had a lot of production there. Josh Jacobs has actually had a lot of production too. But this is how you win football games. And I think Goody has been nothing but ripped by his players in Green Bay. This is definitely the smart move.
Do you think that LaFleur was telling the truth? Do you think he really was blindsided by this? Because that's indicative of something else. Matt LaFleur, I think, has earned, a conversation with the general manager about who's going to be on the team.
I think that the general manager has done really well by Matt LaFleur. Like, Matt LaFleur No, I don't really think that the
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, he was probably saying that so his former player doesn't think that he was part of the decision to cut him.
Well, I mean, then that's kind of weak. You should own.
I think he was being
as an
nice.
organization, you own the decision.
I think LaFleur was being nice to his former player. I don't think he was as blindsided as he's saying he is. I think he was, Aaron Jones sacrificed a lot for the Packers, wouldn't take a pay cut, and they got rid of him. I think LaFleur was just being cool to the other. I mean, you saw him praising him there,
Right.
but I didn't hear like, oh my God, I'm so upset because he's not here. I heard, he was a badass. I loved having him on my team. Past tense.
Right.
I mean, also, this is how you win football games. You have to be like the great Patriots teams. You cut everybody a year too early, not a year too late. And if LaFleur doesn't know that, then he's not going anywhere in the NFL.
Well, okay, I understand the general manager has a different decision, but a different role rather than the head coach. But I want these two guys working in concert. And I would have never thought anything of it until Clay Matthews, the Packers legend, put it out there on social media that he thought this was a weird lack of communication. Again, I think everything is good in Packerland, but when someone like Clay Matthews says it, I think that it deserves our attention because, I think Gutekunst, the general manager of the Packers, we saw this with the Aaron Rodgers decision.
Right, which was the right decision.
Be that as it may, it was his way. Like, by the end, they were not even messing around with Rodgers anymore. It was like, you went in that darkness retreat and you came out and we had moved on from you.
Again, I think history will prove that was a very smart call by Brian Gutekunst. I mean, where was he going with Aaron Rodgers there? They were starting to slide downhill. They had to start over, and they did it again. They got another good quarterback.
Yeah, I also think, though, LaFleur probably deserves to be in on these conversations. I mean, he's the one who's been developing Jordan Love behind the scenes, right? He's the guy. I know Rodgers has probably helped Love as well, but doesn't LaFleur, the offensive guy, also get to claim a little success for how well the team did in the latter part of the year and into the playoffs?
I mean, Matt LaFleur, and does he look like he's going to be a troublemaker there? I don't buy any of this. I think they're totally fine. I think they're proven to be a very smart team-building team.
So you think Clay Matthews is off base here?
Yeah, I just think it's a former play. I think it's the classic running back thing where, this running back has given so much to the team. He's been so awesome. How can you just throw him out like yesterday's trash? Hey, that's the NFL. I think all former players say stuff like that.
Up next, a major shift at the top of the NFL draft. What could we be looking at here? We'll tell you next. Got all the details for you. Don't move. Maggie Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's been on the TB12 method since he was 6. She's on her 3rd scotch. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
A major shift at the top of the NFL draft could be in the works. Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. And Perloff, we've talked about how many quarterbacks could be going in the first round of the upcoming draft. But at the very tippity top, we got a change in the betting odds. So Caleb Williams is pretty much slotted in number 1 to the Chicago Bears. At number 2, though, with the Washington Commanders is where things start to get interesting, because where Drake May, maybe early on, had been the favorite, things had flipped to LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels. And then within the last 24 hours, things have flipped back to Drake May. And now he is the betting favorite to go to the Commanders. That the Patriots would be picking 3rd. Presumably, they would take whoever is still available out of that trio. Would this be a mistake for Washington to take Drake May over Jaden Daniels?
I would take Jaden Daniels. And I understand the big knock on Jaden Daniels, that he's 210 pounds and is going to die in the NFL. Because he took gigantic hits all over college. He's going to get demolished because he loves to run and he has this upright style, and he got hammered in college time after time. But where are you going with Drake May if you're Washington, who all the draft experts say is a developmental guy? Are you going to develop in Washington? I understand it's a new ownership. It's a new coach. It's a new offensive coordinator in Cliff Kingsbury, who can really effective play caller. So everything seems to be set up there, but I just don't see this as the right fit for a guy who is more on the developmental side, where Jaden Daniels is older, ready to go right now. I think this is going to be a tough sledding for Drake May. It just feels like a guy who needs to get more accurate, a guy who really needs to play more football. This is not the spot for me. If I'm Washington, I would go with who I think is a safer player in Jaden Daniels. Because even if Jaden Daniels can't pick up the offense or whatever, dude can fly. I mean, fly. So he's going to be running around. He's going to have incredible rushing yards because he's one of the most prolific college football rushers we've ever seen. Drake May's mobile, but nothing like Jaden Daniels, who's going to have that in his back pocket.
Okay, so you're saying that Jaden Daniels is more ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
Yet at the same time, we think that he's going to take some major hits in the NFL if he continues to scramble.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be a little bit better idea to wherever team he goes to actually try to make sure he is more of a pocket passer and he is hanging in the pocket and finding the middle of the field, because at 210 pounds, he could get seriously knocked around. Anthony Richardson is 240, and he got knocked out of this season. Is he that big, like 230 something?
Yeah, I mean,
at 200 pounds, you really could leave yourself open here if you are trying to be that effective in the open field. So wouldn't any team try to take away the scrambling a bit from Jaden Daniels?
Maybe a bit, but I mean, come on, we've heard that criticism of players coming to the NFL before. Obviously, everyone thought Lamar Jackson was too slight and he would not last. And Lamar put on a lot of weight. I think that's very clear. And he had a way of avoiding hits. Now, it's not don't run Jaden Daniels, it's run safely. You're right. Maybe that's an oxymoron. Maybe that's impossible. But you have to admit, I mean, if you watch Jaden Daniels last year, he also can pass. So immediately, and I understand you're saying, I've heard numbers, he's not great in the middle of the field. I mean, he was nearly perfect at LSU. I don't know last year what possible downside there is. It's not like he has to run. He has a great arm too. So I think he can find anyone anywhere. And he's got a couple receivers there. He's got Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson. I think this makes so much more sense to where they are as a team right now, because I don't think you want to go 4-13 with Drake May, because then you could hurt his confidence. I think the offensive line is going to be okay, but not great. If Drake May goes there and your team, Drake May, you have to be disappointed.
Wait, but hold on one sec. So going back to Jaden Daniels, who in the last 24 hours, it's flipped where now he is no longer the odds-on favorite to go to the Washington Commanders. That's now Drake May, and Jaden Daniels presumably would be there for the New England Patriots at 3. So here's the thing about, let's talk about the receivers, because you're right. He does have Terry McLaurin. He does have Jahan Dotson. He may have he was throwing to 2 first-round receivers and maybe the best receiver in this class in Malik Neighbors at LSU. You're such a system guy. You always think that quarterbacks are the product of the system.
Right.
Why wouldn't you think Jaden Daniels was not a product of these 2 amazing wide receivers at LSU? Not to mention he had a very good offensive line at LSU too.
Well, why wouldn't you think that those receivers were a product of Jaden Daniels?
Well, you generally
what did they do before Jaden Daniels?
But you generally tell me that Kirk Cousins, Tom Brady, all these quarterbacks, that the receivers
Justin Jefferson gets 2,000. He's a product of Kirk Cousins.
Right.
Kirk Cousins does nothing but produce yards. So I'm saying the quarterback is more important. Right. I think it's a similar model.
Malik Neighbors.
Who was Malik Neighbors before Jaden Daniels took over?
Well, he was only just sitting behind other amazing wide receivers at LSU.
I just think that model is, I understand what you're saying. And you're right. You did catch me in a little bit of a system problem, but it's very possible Jaden Daniels and also Brian Thomas is not afraid to drop the ball at any given time. He was
still going to go in the first round of this draft, most likely.
Right. But he was not a perfect college receiver. Malik Neighbors was pretty awesome. I'll give you that. But obviously Joe Burrow had Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and came in and was great. Deshaun Watson had killer receivers and he came in and was great. So I think that you can have as many examples of quarterbacks in college who had great receivers, and then it translated.
Yeah, it does. And the Joe Burrow is what you're hoping, but Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels are not a similar style player. They aren't. And I can give you Joe Burrow in his final year, put up all these great numbers with great receivers. It could also be Kenny Pickett, who also put up these great numbers in his final year of college. And then he got to Pittsburgh. It never translated. And now he's the backup for your Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, but you could just eyeball watching Jaden Daniels and watching Kenny Pickett and say these are not the same quarterbacks.
But he's not the same as Joe Burrow
But
either.
Actually, as far as stats go, it's incredible how closely Jaden Daniels and Joe Burrow profile. Jaden Daniels had a meh season at LSU. He was okay, kind of much like Joe Burrow, and then just exploded his senior year. So I think, if you want to make a comparison, I think that's a great comparison. Both won the Heisman. Kenny Pickett was good.
Well, his
but he
numbers
wasn't
were
the Heisman.
explosive.
Yeah.
In the last productive year of college, where he is older than everybody. He has this all-time great season with these great numbers, where he had not been that type of player before. And Jaden Daniels, we're talking about Jaden Daniels is now no longer the odds-on favorite to be the second quarterback taken. Drake May has moved into that spot, which is a change. Very recent change in the odds. So you have Kenny Pickett, who had not done much in college and then has this great final year. That's kind of the same thing with Jaden Daniels. I mean,
and Joe Burrow.
And Joe Burrow, but again, Joe Burrow is the outlier. That's like saying Drake May could be Josh Allen. We don't know that he could be that. You're hoping, but again, are you sure? I don't know, because Jaden Daniels had years at Arizona State that didn't look like that last year at LSU.
Totally, and that's fair. But did you ever see Kenny Pickett run for 170 yards against Alabama in 3 quarters against Alabama? I mean, he was so far and away. Him and Penix were so far and away the best quarterbacks. Well, Caleb too, but Caleb's team stunk last year.
Right, the defense was horrible.
Yeah, I mean,
LSU defense was terrible.
There was
too.
never a point where you looked at Kenny Pickett and just eyeballed him and said, "Wow, that's the best quarterback in the land. He's an instant superstar." You could tell it was a different product altogether.
So again, if we're talking about just Jaden Daniels here and why he's no longer the odds-on favorite to go number 2, you're right about him running in that game against Alabama. He also did got hit really hard.
Total cheap shot by Dallas Turner, by the way.
Whatever, be that as it may.
But he came back next week, which was incredible.
Okay, but even if Dallas Turner is going to the pros and he's going to be a good pro, I do think there is a difference between college hits and pro hits.
Ooh, Dallas Turner is one guy. He's going to be the first defensive player picked.
But there is a difference between college hits and pro hits.
I am making a leap here that Jaden Daniels will learn to avoid those hits. There's this, if you want to see Jaden Daniels get hit, there's this YouTube clip out there of him getting hit, and it has the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner music where you're,
oh no.
And you know how in those things the music would hit a beat as the Roadrunner got demolished. It's horrifying. Jaden Daniels just basically runs 5 yards and gets stood up. And then there's one where Jalen Carter in Georgia lifts him up and holds him up like a trophy.
That's the one that we all remember. That was in a bowl. Was that
it's
a bowl
bad.
Game?
There's never been a quarterback with hits like that. But he always came back. He's got a little bit of sort of rubbery, could take a hit. I don't know. I just feel like you can make a mistake where you project a guy and you say, well, I saw him. He was awesome in college, but I'm going to ignore that and take the guy who I think there's potential there. We all know that sometimes backfires as well.
Sure.
For example, Deshaun Watson fell to 12 and Mitchell Trubisky went 2 because they're like, well, we saw a little bit of Trubisky, the unknown. I think that sometimes the NFL falls in love with the unknown a little too much, where Drake May has never been consistent, and they think that he can be consistent because he has all the tools.
Right.
Jaden Daniels' college tape is obviously better.
Yeah, I mean, the knock on Jaden Daniels, and again, no longer the odds-on favorite to go 2 to the Washington Commanders, likely would go 3, or maybe the Patriots are trading out of that pick. We have no idea. Not seeing the middle of the field, we kind of brush it aside, but it is something, because if he was turning down throws in the middle of the field to tuck and run, you can no longer do that like you did in college for all the reasons we said, because you can't expose yourself to injury like you might if you're rushing 7-8 times a game. He's not Lamar. He's not Josh Allen.
Well, he is Lamar. Why isn't he Lamar?
Well, because he's 200 pounds.
What was Lamar?
Well, what's
220.
Right. I mean, that's a little different, because he's 210 at the pro day. That means you talk about how.
I saw Lamar that came into DP show the day after he won the Heisman. He was not big. I mean, he put on a lot of muscle.
Right. He's added to the frame. Do we think that Jaden Daniels is going to do the same thing?
Absolutely. And he is, and people are having trouble finding a copy. He runs like Lamar. There's not been a college runner like Jaden Daniels. You could say, there has been, but I'm just saying, like, he is incredibly effective. He'll run for 100 yards a game in the NFL. He's going to be, who's going to remind me of, and this is terrible, RG3 came to Washington. I've never seen a faster quarterback in my life, and he was awesome his rookie year. Incredible.
And then what happened?
He hurt his knee.
Yep. And then what happened to his career? Now he's sitting with us, watching games, commentating on them.
But I think Jaden Daniels could have that kind of rookie year where he is just he just takes over immediately if he can stay healthy. What if I gave you, just hypothetical, and I know we got to wrap up this conversation. What if I guaranteed he didn't get injured?
You can't do that. I love
Can't draft season.
No, but can we also guarantee, health, wealth, and happiness for everybody? I love this world.
What if I guarantee you the Jets never will screw up?
EJ, I'm sorry. Even if we're playing God in this scenario, God's clearly not a Jets fan. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Or maybe God was a Jets fan in 1969 and then ceased to be. Okay, coming up, you're welcome to weigh in Jaden Daniels and his future. Is this somebody you see, like Perloff, projecting to be awesome?
Gonna be a star.
Super duper star. Or like media reservations about Jaden Daniels.
By the way, watch J.J. McCarthy go number 2. Which is still floating out there. Yeah, and then we're like, well, oops. That would be a mistake. You'll give me that would be a mistake, Maggie.
That, I think, would be a mistake.
Good.
Up next, we have to update the Maggie and Perloff bracket of one-hit wonders. Man, are we getting down to crunch time with these songs. Guaranteed to get stuck in your head. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Oh my gosh. We haven't talked a lot about it, but we are coming up on a big weekend for the Maggie and Perloff show.
Oh, are
big.
we ever? A lot of regrets.
Lot of
regrets happening.
Well, no,
right
I was
now.
just saying how excited we are for WrestleMania. I wasn't talking about what we were wearing or not wearing in this case.
We so the whole show, most of us, me, EJ, and Perloff. Pete has a prior engagement, and so does Bogish. But the three of us are going down to Philadelphia this Saturday, along with our pal Anthony Gallo, who's going to be working the camera for us. We are going to WrestleMania, so EJ and I can pay off a show bet of us wearing wrestling singlets.
Well, that's, by the way, that's not entirely accurate.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Andrew Bogish was just not invited.
Wait, he's already mad at us, so let's not get him more mad.
No. I actually, it's funny because I had an extra pass. I'm like, maybe Bogish like this, but I'm like, nah.
Oh, this is not going to go over well.
You hear that, Bogish?
Just when we're mending fences. Oh,
yeah.
God.
Bogish not invited to WrestleMania, but we're all going, which is all that matters.
Well, listen, Bogish doesn't want to be anywhere near Philly.
That's actually accurate.
Great point.
Especially with how things are going with Philly sports right now. Just disgusting. Bryce Harper hitting 3 home runs. Joel Embiid's back. Okay, so WrestleMania is happening. EJ and I lost a bet to Perloff where we thought that Michigan was going to lose their college football playoff game no matter who it was against. It ended up being against Alabama. Jalen Milroe had the game on his arm, could not deliver. EJ and I go down swinging.
Yeah.
And we had to wear, we will be wearing wrestling singlets and more accoutrement. And we gave them a little test run yesterday.
A little preview.
And also, by the way, we should tell people we're going to wear them Friday, right? To pay it off as a show. Right. So if you want to watch the show, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio, or if you've been thinking about logging on to watch the show, we're still newish in this time slot. You're wondering, what do we look like? Who are we? Friday would be a very good day to do that because EJ and I are going to look ridiculous. And maybe Perloff.
Or a very bad day.
No,
very
good.
bad day. I've seen images of what you guys look like. Yeah, I don't know if you want to tell people to go to that YouTube, Maggie.
It's a lot of spandex, and it's hugging. And a lot of
it's
places.
very tight.
Although you're keeping it very close to the vest, whether or not you might be wearing something fun.
Maybe, yeah. I've never been to a WrestleMania. I assume everybody dresses up in something. Is that true? Bilotti, you've been.
I've been to like 4 of them. The crowds get very different depending upon the cities, but
so we can expect them to throw batteries at us in this city.
They're all kind of the same in that they do dress up with belts, with costumes, face paint. It's like going to a Raiders game.
Yes.
With
all right.
belts.
Well, maybe EJ and I are extremely out of place in the office wearing this type of outfit, the wrestling singlets. And I think we caused some people to be very uncomfortable yesterday.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it was not good. Bogish is raising his hand.
Yeah, I saw EJ from a distance, and it was not enough distance.
It was bad. We may or may not have gotten stopped by certain boss types telling us to cut it out. Cut the bleep was, I think, the word and the phrase.
From around here?
Yeah. Saying put some clothes on. This is a business. This isn't a place for you guys to pay off your dumb bets.
I told you that, Ack.
Because I thought the bosses were for the more bleep, the better.
Right.
Not this bleep.
No,
Usually
I think
the bosses are in the bleep.
To be honest, EJ, I don't know how you felt about this. And we're talking about we have to pay off a bet. We're all, EJ Perloff, we're going to WrestleMania on Saturday, and EJ and I are wearing wrestling singlets, the old school type, like high school wrestling singlets. And I don't know about you, EJ. I think we like crossed a line. There have been bets we've paid off. Perloff's put his face in a bowl of chili. I ate 2 jars of peanut butter in a half an hour. I ate a jar of jelly. We've done silly things. I was like, we pushed it too far. That's how I felt yesterday.
Yeah, I'm mentally preparing for the call from HR and what I'm going to say.
I don't know how we defend
I think
ourselves.
it'll be fine, though.
We're like adults. Like I was walking around the office yesterday in this singlet and a pair of boots, and I'm like, this is inappropriate. We were in the elevator with someone yesterday. They're like, this is not cool, and we were making people uncomfortable.
Well, I think
we crossed the line.
What I think concerns me now moving forward is, this office is pretty well air conditioned even during the winter.
Oh, don't go there, EJ.
So it was pretty chilly here.
Already throwing that out there.
Philly, 55 degrees. I'm seeing for high.
Yeah,
a little nervous about that.
No, kickoff or whatever they call it when WrestleMania starts isn't until 7 or 8. I'm sorry.
First bell is 8.
First bell is at 8. It's going to be like the temperatures are going to be dropping. And
I'm going to pull up the temperature right now. I don't think you can use this as an excuse, EJ.
I'm not saying it's an excuse. I'm saying it's a concern.
I just want to again reiterate, as we are wearing wrestling singlets to pay off a bet, I think we took this one too far. I want to be on the record. We do have some kind of moral compass. We're not total fools. We crossed the line with this one.
38 degrees Saturday night.
What are we doing?
Right.
This is dangerous now. We bit off way more than we could chew, EJ. It's just a fact. And again, if you want to watch us in the office wearing this ridiculous getup, Friday is the day. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio, Twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio, where we are. I just think we have to know where the line is. I know we like going right up to the line. We crossed it yesterday. People were looking at us funny.
That was the thing. The stares. It wasn't so much the comments. The comments I expect. The stares are from the people who want to say something and won't because they don't want to get in trouble or have an issue.
And we're talking about, there's something about the people here are on the air and, we kind of have a little looser interpretation of this stuff. I'm talking about the salespeople. Yep. I'm talking about the bosses. I'm talking about other people in this building who saw us and didn't think it was cute. They did not think it was funny. We messed up. But we went too far.
On the flip side, though, then there were the for me at least, there were the weirdos who are trying to sneak pictures as if I don't see them taking pictures.
Oh my God!
The sales guy should be the last ones to talk.
Yeah, I'm really confused by this, and I wasn't there, so I don't know what that felt like. But this place, almost everything that could happen has happened on these 2 floors. I don't understand why anyone would be judging you for this unless. I mean, were you showing too much skin or too much?
It's a wrestling singlet.
Yes. I'm going to tell you, Bogish, I was surprised too because I thought, we're in the entertainment industry here. Everyone's kind of seen it all, done it all. I no longer think that. We changed the vibe of the office yesterday with our outfits. Again, I'm just telling you, we crossed the line. And we continue to cross the line because we have to pay off this bet.
Habitual line steppers is what Dave Chappelle once said.
Do you think EJ looked too good and the men around here were feeling incomplete, incompetent, insecure because they were not EJ?
Listen, be that as it may, I don't think it was about his body or my body. It was about the lack of clothing that we were wearing. It was egregious.
I don't know. Evan Roberts on WFAN paints his beard a different color every day.
Child's play.
And then washes it off in the bathroom so it looks like a leprechaun was murdered in there daily. I don't understand how that's okay and you guys are not.
I'm telling you, child's play. If you put Evan in spandex, you would understand what's going on.
You know the difference between us and Evan from New York is Evan has already a way too long beard. He already looks weird.
Yeah.
Because of the beard he's grown. So, him coloring it is like, all right, well, you already look kind of weird. Now you look more like we come in normal clothes every day.
We shocked people yesterday.
See us every day not looking how we looked yesterday. So I think that was the added shock.
EJ, I saw you from down the hallway, 100 feet. I'm not really sure. I'm not good with distance. I did appreciate it was more colorful than I was expecting. Your outfit.
I mean, obviously, if EJ and I were going to do this, we're going to do it right.
Yeah, be a little fashionable, you know.
So, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio. We will be wearing these singlets on Friday, and then we're going to WrestleMania on Saturday.
Oh, you're wearing them here Friday. I forgot about that.
Yeah, because that was the original bet. So we want to pay off on that. Because the original bet was someone's going to wear it for the entire show. But we didn't want to just be like, oh, well, we're going to go on Saturday, but nobody here gets to kind of laugh at us or whatever. So,
and the 52 weekends a year a wedding could be had to be this weekend.
I'm
That's why
sorry.
I am not here.
Pete, you got to take it up with the bride and groom. You did get to go to Raw last night. We'll get to that in just a bit.
I want to hear about that.
Bogish has headlines for us.
Hello again. So he was back last night in all his pudgy glory, wearing brand new Skechers sneakers, scoring points and playing defense.
Josh Giddey guarded by Embiid, and Embiid stole the ball. He drives. Holmgren's back there. Embiid goes up. Collision, foul, blocking call. Joel Embiid stole the ball and drove 3/4 the length of the court, and then collides with Chet Holmgren, and a blocking call on Holmgren.
Tom McGinnis on Sixers radio. Joel Embiid hadn't played in 9 weeks. He threw on those new kicks, posted 24 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists in 30 minutes. That steal and ensuing free throws put the finishing touches on a 109-105 victory over the Thunder. Afterwards, Embiid had his hand out for those Ozempic pills.
I get a lot of weight, so I'm pretty fat right now, but I'm so I get back to myself. My face still looks skinny now.
His face is skinny, but the rest of him is too fat right now.
This is the worst thing that could happen to a Sixers fan. Our boss, Spike Eskin, has a Sixers podcast, and he tweeted last night that this, for the first time during the whole process era, I feel optimistic. Now,
yes.
He said I'm going full optimism.
Full optimism.
Yeah.
That's insane. There is 0.0 chance this works out well. There is no way. I saw Embiid last night. He played 30 minutes as if he had just finished a marathon. There's no way this is coming together in time.
He also got hurt twice, didn't he?
He was on the ground 140 times.
As usual.
Yeah.
Rubbing his calf, hitting in the stanchion at one point, the basket hoop. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's not going to see Thursday.
I'm glad he's back, but if you have hope as a Sixers fan, what are you doing here? How do you come back for 5 games and all of a sudden get into shape? I mean, there's not enough Ozempic in the world. Mike Iverson was there last night. He looks amazing. I say sign that guy up again. He looks like he's in great shape, and he hasn't always been like that in his post-playing career. He looks like he is fit.
I definitely feel like someone got to him, it feels like. Because, you're right. Like, he was playing that big 3. He lasted like 2 games because he clearly was not in the shape to play.
Yeah, he looks chiseled now.
He looks much better now. I know.
So maybe they sign up Iverson to a 10-day. There's no way.
Maybe Iverson's on Ozempic.
That being said, the Sixers are 27-8 with Joel Embiid. I don't say that to brag. They are really good with Joel Embiid, but why does it have no chance of working?
Well, you keep saying that.
Yeah.
It has no chance in the playoffs.
It will work.
Because I've seen them be the number 1 seed and not go anywhere. You saw it last night. The guy's on the ground. Maggie, you cannot believe how many times he went to the ground.
Oh, I believe it.
It was
this is my
14
biggest
times.
Criticism of Joel Embiid. Get up. You were on the ground all the time. You're 7 feet tall. It's a long way to fall.
And also, he goes all out every play, too. He tries to block every shot. He doesn't know how to measure himself in. It's going to be tough. I think it's nice that he came back. He's amazing at basketball, but the Sixers are not going anywhere, which is a relief to everyone in this room, I'm sure, because if the Sixers won, I would be insufferable.
Wait a minute. Our boss has a podcast?
You're burying the lead.
Better say the name.
When did that happen?
What else we got, Bogues? Move us away from Philadelphia.
No,
please.
we can't because I need more on these Skechers. Have they always made basketball sneakers, or is this new?
So Randall signed a deal earlier this year. I don't know if this has become the first year where they're signing big-time players, but now Embiid has a signature line, which is...
Do they have the little wheels in them so we can skate instead of...
Yes.
I'm telling you what, there's not enough money in the world.
That would be good for his knees.
If I was a superstar athlete, there's not enough money in the world to make me sign a deal for
Well, wasn't it retired players for a long time?
Well, Joe Montana. I mean, Joe Montana was on Skechers. Well, wait.
Shannon Sharp, I think, is Skechers.
Wait, what if you can get, Skechers has something brilliant. I don't know how they came up with this technology.
My dad has them.
Do they work? You can slide into the shoe from standing.
The last time I asked, they still somehow work. And I don't get it either. It makes no sense. I don't know how that little back part is so solid that you can't squish it down with your heel. But that thing does apparently work somehow.
The only shoe I wear.
You know what? I kind of want to get them because for the slip-in factor. Do they make them for women? I want that because, when you're around the house or just real quick, I would just want to slip into the shoe. And imagine you could do that for a basketball shoe. And B doesn't have to bend over to tie it.
I think that's why they had him do it. It's like, hey, look, you're a big injury risk. Yeah. Let's keep the amount of activity down when you're not playing.
But no wheels.
Also, if you're a little, carrying a little extra weight, bending over to tie your shoes kind of sucks.
Setters don't get shoe deals either. So he's got, obviously, he wasn't going to get the big money elsewhere. I mean, name a famous center shoe.
Shaq.
Well, Shaq.
Those were terrible.
But I mean,
Ewing had a shoe deal.
Ewing's shoe was the worst.
Also, I love Ewing, but not great.
But Akeem Olajuwon had to go to Etonic. That was my favorite one. But who's got, obviously, who was Skechers before? I know that I'm reading the story, they have Harry Kane, who's super cool. And they have Matt Fitzpatrick, who's actually a really cool golfer. So they're getting into modern athletes.
Wait, does Wemby not have a shoe deal? Wouldn't he be with
Wemby's Nike, I thought.
Wemby, I believe, is Nike.
Yeah.
Not LSC or whatever.
I know Nike pays a lot to Zion. Or Jordan Nike. I don't know which one it is.
Right.
Centers have shoe deals.
Centers do not get deals that's the rule. The shorter players get the better deals.
I mean, besides Shaq, and again, I would argue how well that went. The center getting the signature shoe line just has not worked ever.
Right. You want the young, fast guy because people can relate to like Iverson and.
I wonder if he may be the guy that cuts through.
Yeah, maybe.
So exciting.
But then you had Curry though. People didn't love his shoes.
Oh yeah,
Under Armour.
Yeah, Under Armour. Well, the problem was Curry had the particular one shoe that was like so awful.
It was just white.
Yeah, it was white. It was low cut. The Curry 2s were, and I love Steph Curry, one of the worst releases of a shoe I think I've ever seen. And I think that just killed any chance of the Currys being a thing. So, I mean, anybody who wears Under Armour, like high school teams, college, and they all wear them. Because if you have Under Armour, you're going to wear the Currys, obviously. But you just can't do it if you're a center. It's just, I don't know what it is.
I took EJ to a Knicks game, and I asked him every player. Yeah, I know. I talked
about
it.
Must have been nice.
I asked him every player, what's he wearing? And the funny thing was, EJ's like, oh, I think that's some Chinese shoe deal.
Yes.
What's the deal with that?
Well,
there were a
Klay
lot of guys.
Klay Thompson has the big Chinese shoe.
Yeah.
I think half the team seemed to be wearing something without a swoosh, without Adidas. I'm like, there's no sign on that.
Yeah, and I would say more than half, maybe, or at least half of the NBA players now, they sign deals with Chinese shoe companies because they pay the most money.
Gonna be honest, I'm surprised it didn't catch on a little with the NBA to have the shoes that light up. Bogus, you mentioned the one with the wheels.
Yeah.
Those are so cool when they came out. Honestly, Skechers is really leading the way with technology. Whatever. I mean, Nike, I don't know. That's about design.
Remember, Shaq had the shoe with the phone in it in their All-Star game. I don't know if you remember that.
I do not.
He had a shoe.
Like the Sports Illustrated shoe phone?
I don't know if Sports Illustrated did a shoe phone thing. I don't know. But I know this All-Star game, he debuted shoes that were also a cell phone. And then he had people who have been canceled recently holding the phones and calling people on the sitting courtside.
Oh, did he?
Yes. Sitting courtside, talking to people on the phone that was Shaq's shoe.
Wait, do you guys not remember the Sports Illustrated shoe phone?
Oh, no, I remember that.
I have one.
I got nothing on
and the football phone.
Yeah.
Wait, I have a question, EJ. Does anyone buy a shoe because of Kawhi Leonard? Is that deal, that's the last guy I would want to emulate?
Well, they have his name written on the back, Kawhi on one shoe, Leonard on the other, in Times New Roman.
New Balance has spent a lot of money on Kawhi and a lot of basketball athletes. I mean, that commercial that plays literally
with Jack Harlow, yeah.
Yeah, it's with, the other commercial with Cameron Brink and I think Jamal Murray may be in there. I know Zach LaVine's in there. The Kawhi thing is odd as well. But I don't know. I guess this is working. I have not seen proof of this, but
I'd rather buy a shoe made by Stu Leonard.
Yeah.
Is that all over the country? They have Stu Leonard's, a grocery store that's famous for giving out popcorn. Bogus, do you have any other headlines?
The Kansas City area voters yesterday easily shot down a sales tax plan to partially fund Arrowhead Stadium renovations at a brand new venue for the Royals. The teams were expecting defeat going into the vote yesterday. It's unclear how they'll proceed now. Places like Kansas City, Kansas might have the public funding that the Chiefs are looking for. As for football, Those Chiefs have re-signed running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the former first-round pick, healthy for all of last season for a change. Ran for just 223 yards, though, playing behind Isaiah Pacheco.
Can I just say something? How dare you, Kansas City Chiefs business side? How dare you float, we'll move the team? I mean, come on.
They haven't gone that far just yet.
They said, we'll move. We may have to look into relocating. If you taxpayers who have been supporting us and have this seemingly good relationship, now you've got to pony up to pay for our renovations. Meanwhile, this is probably the richest the franchise has ever been because of all the success that they are having. And to hold the city hostage, how dare you?
I mean, this is where, honestly, your stars have to step up and say, our ownership needs to do a better job.
Oh, they're not getting it. They're not going to touch
but
this.
Why not?
Because then players never do. The players,
I know, but
it's silly to get involved in this.
Then they're gutless.
No, this just shows, again, the ownership. I mean, remember the Kansas City Chiefs on that NFLPA report card? Got like a terrible report card. But you've won now 3 titles. You've got the best player in the sport. You've got Taylor Swift coming to your games, and you're going to hold the city hostage to renovate the stadium?
That's why I'm calling out Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Say, hey, our ownership has done a good job. It shouldn't be on the fans. It should be on us as an organization.
It shouldn't be on the players.
We won these Super Bowls.
Nope.
That helped this organization. Let's help out the fans.
It's EJ, I get it, but it's not on the players to do this. This is not their fight. This is ownership being awful. Again.
Who fights back then, Maggie?
No, it shouldn't be on the players to fight against their owners. That's going to be really, really hard to do. Yes.
And by the way, that PA survey that you mentioned, where their biggest gripe was we were promised new locker rooms, Clark Hunt called them liars. Yes. So we never promised that.
What is going on?
So when they did speak up, he said, you guys are wrong.
You guys are looking at this all wrong. If I'm another city, say I'm San Antonio, I got to get Patrick Mahomes in town. I want to buy the Chiefs and move them somewhere.
You're not buying them.
Juicy, well, whatever. If every city out there should call Clark Hunt and say, like, hey, we'll take your team for 5 years. At least while Patrick Mahomes is still in his prime.
Where does their money come from? Is it just football?
The Hunts. Oil.
Is that what it is?
I think, did they own the version of the Cowboys?
They were the Dallas Texans.
Dallas Texans.
Yeah, so it's got to be oil.
Okay.
I mean, actually, if you don't know, that's always a safe bet, right? For a team that formed in 1960.
So,
from Texas, definitely.
We're looking at Clark Hunt. This is just a quick Google search, so I have to double fact check it. Son of the Chiefs owner Lamar Hunt, grandson of oil tycoon H.L. Hunt. As of 2023, is at an estimated net worth of $2 billion.
So he's good.
I think he's good on the stadium renos.
Yeah.
You know.
Last thing from me, this was presented to me by the one and only Elijah Jefferson as, quote, Pirates debut. Was I wrong on that?
Not Jefferson, no.
Damn it. Pirates debut gross sandwich. And I disagree. In Pittsburgh's beautiful PNC Park, you can now order the Renegade. It's a foot-long hot dog. It's got pickles. It's got onions. It's got pot roast. And it's got potato pierogies. And I would 100% eat that.
My only problem with that formula, did you say there's a hot dog underneath it, right?
Yeah.
The hot dogs doesn't fit with all those. I do pot roast and pierogies.
Well, see, I think, to me, the pierogies that come off and been eaten separately. The rest of the hot dog, you can just bite your way through like normal and you're fine. But the pierogies sit on the hot dog, that seems logistically impossible to eat.
I definitely would eat that, but just not at a stadium.
I was going to say, since when are pierogies a ballpark food?
Isn't it part of these sandwiches, the whole key is you have to take a bite so you have all the different flavors? Otherwise, it's just a bowl.
Yeah,
how do you guys look? How you think this looks good? Are you guys kidding me?
Yeah,
Listen,
pierogies are the best.
No, I like pierogies. This looks awful.
Also, I think that there must be some kind of city ordinance that if you are selling food in Pittsburgh, it has to be topped by some kind of potato product. So they're just following the rules, really.
Right. It all works.
I think it sounds delicious.
Pierogi, pot roast, hot dog, and a bun.
Yeah.
I like the pickles, too. I'm a big add pickles to everything.
Yep.
I'm also, though, I know it's a visual thing, but I'm also about, you got to have different colors. Like, there's too much beige on this
That's fair. It's not pretty. You're right.
The bun, the pierogies, and the pickles are sliced. So you're not even getting the green, so it just looks like a beige bomb.
I know, DJ. It's a ballpark. It's not a cooking show. I mean, you close your eyes and eat it.
Logistics are important with this too. If you're gonna have a giant sandwich like this at your stadium, you got to have more than 4 tables to eat it at around the stadium. You're not going to your seat and having that next to 4 other people around you, and you have no room to eat it. I want to have a hot dog at the seat. I want to have the pierogi sandwich at a table where I can stand up and have some space.
You have to actually buy a 4-pack of tickets, one for your own backside and the other for all the things you're eating at the bar. But luckily for the Pirates, seats are still available. Bogusch, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Up next, we never got to the one-hit wonder bracket. How dare we? We'll do that next. It's Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Okay. This is Andrew Perloff with an Odyssey Sports Minute sponsored by Old Trapper Beef Jerky. Old Trapper, what's your beef?
Maggie Gray with a CBS Sports Minute. This is Maggie Gray with an Odyssey Sports Minute. NFL teams have gotten much better at hiding their intentions when it comes to the NFL draft. Sure, we believe Caleb Williams.
One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To get to, including an update of our March Madness bracket, the Maggie and Perloff bracket of one-hit wonders. Perloff, can you believe it? We are already to the Elite Eight in this very special and unique tournament.
Wow, this is going to get high ratings, just like the Caitlin Clark Iowa LSU game. Yeah. I'm so excited.
This is awesome. So let's get to it. We are in the Elite Eight, the one-hit wonders bracket. This is the weddings and the last call region. So let's go to weddings. Who will be moving on? It's number 5 seed, Jump Around.
So get out your seat and jump around. Jump around. Jump around. Jump around. Jump up and get down. Jump, jump, jump. Everybody jump. Jump.
And Jump Around will face the 3rd seed in this region. Whoop, there it is.
All right, we get the point. We get it.
This is just the rest of the show. We just play Whoop, there it is for another 2.5 hours. That is the Iowa LSU, maybe of this region. Jump Around versus Whoop, there it is. And then in the last call region of the Maggie and Perloff one-hit wonders bracket, number 1 seed, Baby Got Back.
Like big butts, and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny. Now when a girl walks in with an itty-bitty waist and a round thing in your face, you get sprung. Wanna pull up tough.
And they go up against the 10th seed, become a bit of a darling and Cinderella in this tournament, 8675309. There you go. So that is the weddings in the last call regions, Perloff. It's the Elite Eight of the one-hit wonders bracket. You can go vote at Maggie and Pearl on social media and let us know who you think should go to the Final Four.
I'm going to be honest about something. I'm getting a little tired of Whoop, there it is.
Wait, what?
What about the other lyrics?
There are none.
Who cares about the other lyrics?
Actually, are there other lyrics? I don't even remember.
We can get you Boom Shakalaka if you'd like. This, you don't understand, Perloff. This entire one-hit wonder bracket has just been one long psychological experiment for us to play Whoop, there it is until you break.
It's working.
I'm looking actually the other lyrics. They make no sense.
Yes, because all the other one-hit wonders have lyrics that make tons of sense, like Who Let the Dogs Out?
Tag team, Donald Duck steps up from old school. He's no fool.
He's not like EJ, by the way.
That's a lyric. Well, I don't know what. Yeah, can we play the whole song for the audience if this gets if it wins?
Oh, if it wins, maybe.
I mean,
definitely not allowed to, but
this is.
I'm looking at the lyrics. This song must be 9 minutes long. There's about 1,000 Whoop, there it is.
They are the Dostoevsky of songwriters. Thank you for laughing at that. So this is whoa, sorry, that one went right.
That was even worse than me trying to rap there 2 seconds ago.
Apologies. Anyway, so yes, this is all one big psychological experiment to get Perloff to get a psychotic break to Whoop, there it is. We've been found out. Okay, quickly. We want to go to, oh gosh, we don't have tons of time for this, but I think we can still do it. Perloff, we're talking about NFL sleeper teams, take a complete left turn. And we're talking about teams that right now have plus odds to make the playoffs, teams that did not make the playoffs a year ago. Who do you have as an NFL sleeper team? Or would you like me to go first?
Can you go first?
Absolutely. My NFL sleeper team this year is going to be the Indianapolis Colts. This is a team that, yes, had an above 500 record last year, barely, but is not a lock to go to the playoffs. It's plus money. They did not go to the playoffs a year ago. I'm investing. Here's a couple reasons why. Number one, I don't want to go with a team that has a new coach. I can't trust a new coach. If I've never seen you coach before, you're not going to be a sleeper team for me. So I do think Shane Steichen can actually coach in this league. I didn't love their final game, but he can coach in this league. I'm going to put some money in. Anthony Richardson looked really good the last time we saw him before he got hurt. I'm hoping that he takes some more steps forward. You've got Joe Flacco now as the backup. You re-signed Michael Pittman. I think this is a team in a division where everyone's just penciling in the Houston Texans and they're penciling in the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's the AFC South, everybody. You think you know how this division's going to go from year to year? You've got something else coming. Indianapolis Colts are going to be my sleeper team. Make the playoffs in 2024.
So the rules of this sleeper segment, they have to have plus odds. That's it. Even though Indianapolis had a winning season last year.
But they did make the playoffs and they have plus odds this year.
Whatever. I'm thinking the Cleveland Browns, who did make the playoffs but have the same exact odds as the Colts. I think the Browns are a sleeper team in the sense that we always underestimate head coach Kevin Stefanski.
Like he's two-time coach of the year, right?
Yes, but we always think moving forward, everyone's like, well, the Browns don't scare me. Is anyone talking about the Browns? No, of course not, because they have the Bengals and the Ravens above them. So I just think that's a team, kind of like your Colts, who defies expectations in a division that has four really good teams in them. I think the Browns, with a healthy Deshaun Watson, I think Watson's coming back this year. I think he's going to be really good and really efficient. The one thing he does really well, he never throws picks. At least he has not at this point of his career. So he will play conservative football and let Myles Garrett just tear it up. I think the Browns are going to be back.
855-212-4CBS. So I'm being asked in the chat by P. Maddie if I can do a dramatic reading of Baby Got Back, like I did for Who Let the Dogs Down.
I would sit by a fireside and listen to you read Baby Got Back. Maybe I could do that tomorrow. I'm king for a day.
You're king for a day tomorrow.
I'll even do that without Perloff being king for a day. I think I've got a cottage industry of me reading dirty rap lyrics.
Well, how about this? How about you read it during WrestleMania?
There's a lot going on.
Yeah,
EJ,
we have too many things going on at this point. Add another thing.
I know. We're in singlets. We're going down to WrestleMania. We've got tons of things planned. EJ and I will be wearing the singlets, and Perloff is telling us he's going to be wearing something fun for Friday. If you have never checked out our chat or YouTube, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio, we just ask a quick favor. Hit subscribe if you are in the chat, and we are forever grateful. Helps us do the kind of things we want to do around here. I will read the lyrics to Baby Got Back. Coming up next, we also hit the great debate because it is Wednesday. What's on the docket today? You'll find out.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
She can run the 40 faster than Tom Brady. He got a perfect score on the Wonderlic. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
We've got college hoops on the brain. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We're getting all this good news coming in. LSU, Iowa, the most watched women's college basketball game of all time. Also the most bet on women's college basketball game of all time. I guess those things go hand in hand. And then we've got the men's Final Four, which is shaping up to be awesome. Perloff is not impressed.
It's not the women's Final Four. Let's be honest about that.
The question is, did the women's Final Four, did it peak with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese? You know, did we get the high ratings and the high drama because they have this rivalry, or is this just a Caitlin Clark runaway train and the ratings are going to climb and climb and climb? So that's a question for you if you'd like to weigh in at 855-212-4CBS. It is Wednesday, which means we get to the great debate.
The Great Debate Series.
Debate is sponsored by NHTSA. Using your phone while you're driving could kill someone. Put the phone away or paid for by NHTSA. Now, again, we have college hoops on the brain, so we got arguing in the office the other day. Thought, let's bring it to the air. Who is the greatest college basketball player of all time, male or female? Now, because there had been also some griping on the show that we never allow Bogusch and Pete to have first crack at this great debate, and they're like, you leave us the scraps when we get to do Hank Aaron and you've got to do Bruce Bochy.
Well, Pete still does Bruce Bochy.
Yeah, by the way.
Yeah, today I expect a little Bochy action.
He's a two-sport athlete.
This was my complaint, and I will say, having seen this side of things now, I might like the original setup.
Why is that?
Now I feel the pressure to be right. When the top four answers are gone, I can nestle into Bruce Bochy or Russian Hockey or Josh Gibson. Now I have to be correct if I get the first pick.
No. You know what you like. I know what I like. Everyone knows what they like. The pick that you make is the pick that you think is right.
I got to be honest, Bogusch. You and Pete got to pick first and second on the great debate of who's the best college basketball player of all time. I still think I'm right, so
that's fine.
Let's start it off, and I will start it off. And the greatest college basketball player of all time, male or female, is Breanna Stewart.
Setting up inside, weak side. Stewart wide open three. She's already got 10 here in the first 6 minutes.
Okay, we're talking about hardware. We're talking about greatest ever, which means we're talking about winning and championships. 4 years, 4 titles. 4 years, 4 titles. 4 years, 4 most outstanding player of the tournament awards for Breanna Stewart. No player has ever won 3, by the way, and she won 4. Her overall record in college, 151-5. Get out of here. I mean, that's just ridiculous. They won more games over a 4-year stretch, and she did, than any other team in college basketball. Diana Taurasi didn't do it. Sue Bird didn't do it. Maya Moore didn't do it. Swin Cash didn't do it. Tina Charles didn't do it. Nobody did it. Breanna Stewart did it. 3-time consensus college player of the year. This is hands down the greatest college basketball player of all time. Perloff, who do you have?
I'm only last because I had to choose last. I do have to ask you, what makes Breanna? Why is Breanna Stewart superior to all those other UConn players? Because you must have had 3 UConn players on that list.
4 titles, 4 years, and she was the leader of that.
But
team.
was she a better player than Taurasi and Maya Moore?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going last because I had the last choice and somebody else picked the one I wanted to do. I'm going to be honest.
Okay.
I'll be honest.
Your name's on the show. You've got to go too.
We just explained that Bogusch and Bellotti got first crack.
Well, I had last, but okay.
The show's called Maggie and Perloff. I went first. Now you go second.
All right, it's fine. I went with a little guy, won a few games. You might have heard of him. His name is Bill Russell. Hello, Bill Russell, greatest winner of all time. And here's why I went with him. People forget. The dude won in college, too. Everyone thinks of all the rings in the NBA. He won 2 titles at USF. That's University of San Francisco. Now, you have many memories of University of San Francisco basketball, right? Wrong. They stunk. They had averaged 10 wins per season the 3 years before Russell got there. Then he won 60 straight games and 2 titles at a school that never had any basketball before him, never had any basketball after him. He didn't go to Adolph Rupp in Kentucky. He wasn't with John Wooden in UCLA like somebody else's choice here. He took a nobody. He could have basically won a title with a high school team. He was so good. In fact, they didn't have a gym, so they had to share a gym with a high school team. The USF Don Center, Bill Russell, is actually the greatest college basketball player of all time because nobody has won back-to-back titles on a worse team than him. It's never happened. Yeah, Danny Manning led Kansas to a title 1 year. That's Kansas. That's not San Francisco. By far, Bill Russell is the most successful college basketball player of all time, and he wasn't a bad NBA player as well.
There's one more weapon the Hawkeyes just can't neutralize, that height of Bill Russell. The skyscraping All-American proving it, and the Dons lead by 5 points at the half.
I mean, the dude was a Don.
He was
that wasn't even their nickname.
in an 8-team tournament.
Yeah, it wasn't even a nickname. They called him the Don because he was the godfather of the sport. He was.
Games 11-8 back then.
We're talking about this is the same time Will was playing.
I know. I'm kidding.
Yeah, and the one thing I did read there was a gentleman's agreement in the sport at the time. You would only play 2 black players at once.
Oh God,
That's dark.
Gentleman's agreement.
But apparently, the coach at USF broke that rule and caused all kind of controversy. I saw a documentary on Bill Russell. He was fighting a lot of real bitter and animosity during his playing career. Overcame that. I mean, come on, Bill Russell is Bill Russell. You can't go wrong. And nobody talks about his college career, and it's about time we did.
We are doing the Great Debate, which we do on Wednesdays at this time. The greatest college basketball player of all time. I said Breonna Stewart. Perloff went with Bill Russell. EJ.
Okay, so you guys went with people who won a lot, but they played on fantastic teams. San Francisco had Casey Jones, who then won a lot of titles with, of course, Bill Russell in the NBA. Breonna Stewart, I can name all the WNBA superstars she played with in her time at UConn. I want someone who was a singular star, someone who really put a team on their back, someone who didn't go to a school that already had great players or brought great players with them, someone who was iconic, someone who was a one-man show, which is why you have to go with the pistol.
Here they come again. 93-76. LSU leading. It's the Pink, a 21-footer.
That was Stan Torgerson. He's an Ole Miss announcer back then who was really excited for LSU scoring the point there. That was Pistol Pete breaking the all-time scoring record, a record that we now know sat for 50, 60 years until, of course, Caitlin Clark just beat it. Pistol Pete played just 3 years, averaged 44 points to put that record up. Also had no three-point line. When we're talking about players and individuality, if we're really making this about greatest player, there is no debate. The guy averaged 44 points a game. He has scored the most points. You got to give it to the pistol.
Let's move on. Greatest college basketball player of all time is our great debate today. I said Breonna Stewart. Perloff said Bill Russell. EJ's going with Pistol Pete Maravich. Pete Pilati.
The greatest athlete, in my opinion, the greatest competitor ever in the history of sports, let alone college basketball, is my athlete, and that's Michael Jordan. And not only am I saying it, but the one of the greatest head coaches in college basketball said it as well.
The kid is just an absolutely great kid. If I were going to pick the 3 or 4 best athletes I've ever seen play basketball, he'd be one of them. I think he's the best athlete I've ever seen play basketball, bar none. If I were going to pick people with the best ability I'd ever seen play the game, he'd be one of them. If I were going to pick the best competitors that I'd ever seen play, he'd be one of them. So in the categories of competitiveness, ability, skill, and then athletic ability, he's the best athlete, he's one of the best competitors, he's one of the most skilled players. And that, to me, makes him the best basketball player that I've ever seen play.
Case closed. Michael Jordan.
That was Bobby Knight talking about Michael Jordan. All right, greatest college basketball player of all time is the great debate. Bogish, you're up last.
So I think I picked the guy that Perloff wanted to pick in the first place. My answer with the number 2 overall pick in this process is Lou Alcindor. Maggie wants winning, 88-2, 3 years, 3 titles. I believe he was always the most outstanding player in those tournaments as well. For his career, UCLA, 26 points a game, 15 rebounds per game, and then he became Kareem and was an amazing NBA player as well. But maybe it was easier with John Wooden at UCLA, but Kareem was nearly perfect for 3 years. He's the best college player of all time.
Here's Lucius Allen into Alcindor on that pivot, and the big boy flips it up and in. He's making it look easy now. 12 points for Alcindor.
Man, these old-time calls are just amazing.
Here's Lucius Allen. He flips it in the big man.
It's like it feels like they need to break into this to also give us an update on, like, how our boys are doing overseas. I know it's not the same era, obviously.
War bonds.
It sounds
Today's
like
the game
it.
is brought to you by the War Department.
I like Marlboro cigarettes. The healthy cigarette.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that might have been Lucky Strike.
It's good for your digestion. I mean, everybody would have picked Lou Alcindor if we could have, if Bogus should have get that.
I was still picking Stewie.
Okay, the question is, what if I had done Bill Walton? You can't do Bill Walton if once someone's picked Lou Alcindor, because Bill Walton was the same thing, right? They're kind of
do whatever you want.
I don't know, but I can't do Bill Walton if he has Lou Alcindor, because everyone's like, well, Lou Alcindor was just a little better.
And they're first.
Yeah, they're first. So I had to go off the beaten path. It is you can't debate Bill Walton and Lou Alcindor. So, but yeah, I think Lou Alcindor is going to be tough to beat. Although I think I made a good case with Bill Russell.
So you can vote. You can let us know in the chat. You can call 855-212-4CBS. Greatest college basketball player ever. This was Bogish and Bellotti got first dibs on this one because of some internal complaints behind the scenes that they always got the scraps of the great debate. You guys
never
got
any scraps. You make it gold. That's how I look at it.
By notice we didn't have anyone except Breonna Stewart from this millennium.
Yeah, because, in my opinion, as the competition gets better, I think it's more impressive to win.
But it's kind of hard to be the greatest college basketball player of all time when you are there for 1 year.
Well, she was there for 4.
No, I'm just saying that's why we don't have any competitors from
this era.
Yeah, I looked at the list of the greatest college basketball players of the last 25 years. It is thin. I mean, there's on the men's side, especially. On the women's side, it's very rich.
I know, production meeting on show. I think we should one day do the best one and dones of all time.
Yeah. Maybe we'll
that's so you can get your guy Carmelo Anthony in there.
Oh, I don't know if I would have picked Melo. I love Melo though. Love Melo.
But
that's the only thing he's winning.
But for this debate, you obviously, for on the men's side, you have to go old school because they played 3 or 4 years. There's no way you can make that kind of impact now, unless you're Caitlin Clark.
855-212-4CBS. Greatest college basketball player of all time. See you guys in the chat giving us some good ones. We see a James Worthy here. I see a Christian Laettner here.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Bill Walton, of course, who you already said. So a lot of good ones. Keep them coming. Greatest college basketball player of all time. All right, coming up, Perloff goes against the grain. What's he railing against today? Find out in just moments. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Against the Grain.
All right, welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Again, many times I have an against the grain take, which I think is with the grain, but then I am informed that it is actually against the grain. But this one, I think everybody should be on board with. Today, over at ESPN, our buddy Tim Bontemps is going to release his straw poll for the MVP. Now, this is an ESPN writer who does 3 straw polls a year, and the third straw poll is almost deadly accurate about who's going to be the MVP. Right now, it's a 2-person race in the NBA. It's Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic. So, I think I always err towards the guy who hasn't won it before. I think everyone's going to vote for Luka Doncic, who's flat out on fire, and the Mavericks have been the hottest team over the last couple of months. Lost last night, but they're still red hot, and Luka's been amazing. Amazing player. But you cannot give MVP to a guy who's not a real title contender. And the Dallas Mavericks are not a title contender. I am sick of the NBA giving the MVP to a guy who's going out in the first or second round. What are we doing here? If you're really the most valuable player in the NBA, then you are about to go on a deep finals run and maybe win it all. Otherwise, you're not the most valuable player. You're just the best player on a really good team. So and the last time, we haven't had an MVP to win a title since, I believe, Curry in the late 2010s. Come on. Don't give it to Doncic. Give it to Jokic because the Nuggets are going to win. I do not want to see another Russell Westbrook, James Harden kind of award where the guy gets the award because he has huge numbers and does not win. It's enough. Come on, MVP voters. Get with it.
Okay, but here's the thing. So Doncic has been to the Western Conference Finals.
Kind of. That was a sort of a weak field he got through, but yes.
Okay. Lost in 5 games to the Warriors. That was in 2022. So even if you get to the final, I get guys who keep going out in the first round or the second round, but your guy, Joel Embiid, who kept going out in the second round, they gave him the MVP last year.
Yeah, and I don't think he was the most valuable player in the NBA. I would not have given it to him.
You would not have given it to him even if it was your team and your guy.
Yeah, I would have given it to Joker.
And now does Joker get it? So it's basically whoever won the title last year, they get the MVP nod? I
think you definitely can't win it twice if you've done nothing in the playoffs. I mean, do you really think when you are going into the Western Conference playoffs, is Luka Doncic the best player in that field? No, it's Joker.
But it could be Luka. You don't know. He could win.
I do.
But here's the thing. So Giannis won it twice.
And the first time, I don't think he deserved it.
But then he won a title after winning 2. Jokic won it twice. Then he won a title after. So maybe this is actually a precursor to your title winning.
It reminds me when Dirk Nowitzki won it and went out almost immediately. Then a few years later won the title.
Yeah.
I just think that, what does that say if your MVP keeps on not winning a title, that you're choosing the wrong MVP?
All right. Well, this is against the grain because I think Luka's going to win it this year. So I think you're against the grain of the MVP voters for sure.
Well, the odds still say Joker right now. So we'll see. It's going to be really close. I guess it kind of depends where these teams fall in the seedings. If the Nuggets get the number 1 seed, then maybe Joker gets away with it. Hey, listen, the other thing, too, it's a little bit irrelevant because all these players are at an elite level right now. I mean, is there a difference? You have a bunch of guys who are scoring 30 points a game. Is there a real difference? I just think they're going to be like, well, we haven't given it to Luka yet. Let's give it to him. 33.9 points per game, 9.2 rebounds, 9.8 assists, almost a triple-double. But come on, Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double, and the stupid NBA voters gave him an MVP. And then they look back and say, well, we knew he wasn't the real MVP. Yeah, get out of here. Luka's not the MVP of the NBA. He just puts a guy who puts up monster numbers.
Can I just share something with all of you that I never knew before? So there's a website called Basketball Reference, which is an easy place to find numbers for basketball players. But they also give you nicknames of these basketball players, which I always find kind of interesting. These are the various nicknames for Luka Doncic. The Matador, El Matador, Cool Hand, The Don, Wonder Boy, El Nino Maravilla, Swaggy L, Luka Legend, Too Easy, and Luka Magic. Get the heck out of here.
Never heard one of those.
I've never heard one.
Some of those definitely date back to Real Madrid.
Sure, the Matador, El Matador. I imagine. El Nino Maravilla. I don't get the reference. But Swaggy L? It's stupid.
There's a lot of cold, hard facts on that site, but that section cannot be trusted. If like one person uses that nickname, it gets thrown on that page. I've seen players go, no one's ever called me that when they're presented with this. So have fun with it, but assume that Luka doesn't actually have 19 nicknames.
You know, you're so right, though, because this is like the Associated Press. Like, Basketball Reference and these sports reference pages are beyond reproach when it comes to their facts and numbers. And yes, the nickname section.
They get lazy.
It's like somebody got drunk. It's like they did during happy hour after like 6 beers.
Yeah, they just mishear something. That's a nickname. Put it down.
Hey, Luka, too easy.
You just call him Shmuka? Mark it.
Write it down. Shmuka Schmancic.
I ask you guys a related MVP question.
Sure.
Lamar Jackson has 2 MVPs and has not won in the playoffs. They cannot give him a third. Do we all agree on that?
No.
I mean, at a certain point.
Wait, no, you agree or no, they can't?
I disagree.
They can give him a third.
If they give him a third MVP and he doesn't win the playoffs, it means they don't know what an MVP is either.
I totally do not care what you do in the playoffs in terms of the MVP award.
Why?
Because it's a regular season award.
It doesn't say he's the regular season. Nobody announces, hey, and here's our regular season MVP. That's never said.
We don't. There's no other award where we take in postseason success. We don't do it for Coach of the Year. We don't do it for Sixth Man of the Year.
That's why those awards are also stupid. That's why Kevin Stefanski keeps winning Coach of the Year.
Well, that's why they should do like hockey, where you get an MVP of the playoffs, too. You get a finals MVP.
And they do that.
Finals MVP.
I just think all these awards are flawed because if you know a guy's not going to win the playoffs, why are you voting him for MVP? Call it the regular season MVP then.
It is the regular season MVP.
But it's not called that. It's called the MVP. And no one looks back on it and says, wow, Larry Bird won 3 regular season MVPs. That's just not how we phrase the term.
No, but we do think that nobody thinks, he won 3 MVPs because he beat Magic in the final.
They do. I think
I don't think they do.
Well, no, but they
totally disagree with
Larry
that.
Bird's a guy who won championships, so it carries a lot of weight when he wins the MVP. If you win a bunch of MVPs and never win a title, something's wrong.
Well, it is kind of funny. Like Brady didn't win. Brady has fewer than Peyton Manning.
And Kobe has 1, right?
Yeah.
Kobe has 1 NBA MVP.
He does.
Right, and he's way higher up on the list than guys who've won multiple. Right?
I think this is the problem. It's unscientific. And the writers do it, and they'll get it wrong. The fans do it, we'll get it wrong. The players do it, they'll play favorites with people who they know, and they'll get it wrong. There's just no good way for this thing to happen because it's all positions, it's every team. It's just impossible.
You know what I just like though? I think it's unfair to some of the guys that played in the past. I know we're in this era now, and I think it's not everybody, but there is this idea, nobody cares about regular season, and that's a very today thing. This is not how we felt 20 years ago. It's not what we felt 30 years ago. We valued guys playing 82 games.
EJ, you know why? Not just because they played. There weren't this many teams making the playoffs. Like, if you want to go back to even like the postseason wasn't the whole other season that it used to be. This is different now.
Well, but I mean, if you go back to the 80s, it was a 16-team playoff. So, like, that's so we're talking about Magic, we're talking about Michael, we're talking about those guys that are winning the 80s. We valued those guys playing 82 games and what they did during the regular season. Like this, we can't say, well, those guys and what they did, it doesn't matter because we don't care about the regular season now, so we want to just give a playoff
Listen,
MVP. That's whack to me.
Blame your ring culture, not yours. I'm saying.
No, I mean,
blame the ring culture. Because think about it, you could say the same thing about college football. Guys used to play in bowl games all the time who weren't playing for national championships all the time. And it was only become a thing very recently that if you're not playing for a college football playoff title, then why the heck am I, bothering to play a bowl game? It's just different now.
But one thing though, I also think the other thing that writers always get wrong, and I know this because I've talked to a bunch who voted for Harden, just stats are getting 35 points a game and 10 assists a game means you are a terrible ball hog who has no prayer in the playoffs. I just think there's this basic misunderstanding of accumulating a ton of stats means you're the MVP, when that's obviously, if you watch the game, that's not how it works. The best team players, Steph Curry, LeBron James, Joker, they win. The guys who take every shot like James Harden and Luka, they can win in the regular season, so they get the MVP. And it's just it's almost like you have a negative. If you have the MVP, that means that guy's a ball hog, and you're not going to do anything in the playoffs. And that's exactly what's going to happen to Dallas. I'm telling you right now, they're not winning anything until Luka becomes.
I just feel like
less of a ball hog.
It's just so funny because we've had two conversations about Luka in the last 2 days. One is that he's going to win MVP and not deserve it, and the second he's going to be making $70 million a year when he does it. Let's get to headlines. Andrew Bogusch is here.
Guys, the popularity of Women's March Madness plus some of the issues the tournament keeps having might lead to changes to the bracket sooner than expected. The Women's Basketball Committee was going to discuss these items and maybe implement them in 2026, but now the changes could come for next season. Those changes could include playing the first week at off-campus sites. That comes on the heels of the Utah team facing racist attacks while staying in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, while playing at Gonzaga. And the tourney could switch to 4 regional sites like the men. Right now, there are just 2.
You know what? I thought about this. My first reaction to that awful story of these women getting, racial slurs shouted at them was like, they should never give any tournament games to this again. And then I thought about it. No. Give more. Make these people who, made these women feel uncomfortable. Let's make them feel uncomfortable. Let's do a whole festival. Let's do a celebration of women's hoops or whatever, let's put it even more in their faces to show they're not going to run from, just because you have a couple racial slurs, we are going to be back bigger and prouder and more in your face than ever.
Yeah, I don't, it's a great idea, but in practice, I don't think you get the lessons learned that you're hoping for. You get angrier people doing worse than driving past these young women yelling things at them on their way to a restaurant.
I know. I want it to be where, now we're kind of not invading. Now we're coming to your town bigger and better. So you'll be intimidated and won't feel empowered to say those awful things.
There's also this, not surprising. There are whispers that the Steph Curry, Sabrina Ionescu 3-point contest at the All-Star game could add Klay Thompson and Caitlin Clark next winter. I mean, no matter what, it's bad or something else, Caitlin Clark's going to be at the NBA All-Star Weekend next January.
Oh, she's in our life now.
Yeah.
Not just in the WNBA. We get her for everything now.
On the men's side, quickly, Zach Edey, Dalton Knecht, UConn point guard Tristan Newton, Houston star Jamal Shedd, and North Carolina's R.J. Davis, the finalists for the Naismith National Player of the Year. Let's go back to the Mavs and Luka. They were on a 7-game win streak. He had 30 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists, but they lost last night to the Warriors, 104-100. Steve Kerr liking his defense.
Just the level of competition was fantastic. We stuck with it through all those bad spells that you talked about. But it was our defense that got us a win.
His team now has a 3-game lead on the Rockets for 10th in the West. Houston losing in Minnesota 113-106. The T-Wolves and the Thunder now a half game behind the Nuggets for first in the West. Denver held off San Antonio last night 110-105. Nikola Jokic putting up 42 points, 16 rebounds, 6 assists to barely overcome Victor Wembanyama. He had 23, 15, 8, and 9 blocks.
Yeah, if you block more shot, I'm gonna something. But he blocked like 4 after that, so I didn't do anything about it.
So now Wemby staring down Jokic, but still not Rookie of the Year. If you need some good news this morning, the Yankees can lose a baseball game.
Swinging a high fly ball, deep left field, and that's a 3-run bomb from Walker. Way back into left field, and the Diamondbacks double their advantage. It's 6-0.
Christian Walker's 3-run homer heard on Diamondbacks radio. The Bombers taking their first loss of the season, 7-0 in Arizona. The Marlins, meanwhile, still don't have a win, losing at home to the Angels 3-1. 0-6 is their worst start in team history. And the Boston Bruins, a 3-0 win in Nashville last night. Linus Ullmark made 32 saves, had an assist. His team now leads the Panthers by 4 points atop the Atlantic Division. Florida losing in Montreal 5-3. Guys, back to you.
Bogish, thank you so much. We're talking about Perloff saying the MVP should not be awarded in the NBA to someone who hasn't won at all. Adrian is in Maryland, has a thought on this. Good morning, Adrian. How are you?
Hey, good morning. I hope you guys are doing well as well. I don't agree with Perloff a whole lot, but I'm agreeing with him here. He's correct. Actually, the MVP, it should be given out after probably the first round, second round of the playoffs. But why isn't anybody talking about Jason Tatum? They have the best record in the league. He's not putting up these crazy numbers, but they have the best record in the league, and they're going to be the 1 seed probably throughout. So why not give him some props here?
I don't know. Adrian, I think it's a fair commentary.
Yep.
Why isn't, thank you so much for the call and good to hear from you. Jason, I don't know. I would love to know from some of these voters, why isn't Jason Tatum getting a lot of love? I know he's on a good team, but so is Jokic. I mean, I know Jokic is the number one, but and Jaylen Brown maybe is a little bit of a co-headliner with Jason Tatum, but Tatum is the best player.
It's exactly what I'm talking about because he doesn't have the gigantic numbers of a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander because he's on a better team. I think he was 6 in Bontemps, at least the first MVP poll, and that's kind of a joke.
No, I mean, but no, I disagree with that because Tatum hasn't won anything. So we're going to give
He's got in the finals.
Multiple times.
Oh, yeah, but no, you said guys who James Harden was 1 step away from the finals. Are you talking about Russell Westbrook went to the finals?
That was a giant step. That's the first step on the moon was smaller than James Harden getting in the finals.
1 game away from making the finals.
So Luka's also been to a Western Conference Finals, though.
Right.
We're talking about guys who can be in the MVP
right,
conversation.
but Tatum's made an NBA Finals.
And
I think
he choked
it's a
in the
big
finals. No, like we can't do we're not going to give it to guys because you haven't won anything. Oh, but this guy's winning a lot this season, and we think his team's going to do good. But he's choked in the playoffs. Right. But we're going to give him the MVP. There is no silver bullet for this.
Yeah, you're right, because Harden is the all-time postseason choker, and he's gotten an MVP.
Which was a huge mistake.
But I don't understand why Tatum is not more in the MVP conversation.
Because he doesn't have quite the numbers, because he's got to share the ball with Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, 855-212-4CBS. Okay, lots more, including up next, we got Perloff's NFL Draft Rumor of the Day. This is a juicy one. We get to that next. It's Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, the Rat Pack. You saw that Tropicana did close yesterday.
Yeah,
for
boy,
real.
Murray the Magician.
I know. Murray joined us when we were in Vegas for the Super Bowl and taught us some cool card tricks. Which, by the way, I still have the. Am I allowed to say this? I still have like the cards that he gave us, the sort of the trick cards.
Yeah, I have.
Do you
them too.
remember how to do the trick he taught us?
I totally do. I do it on my daughter all the time.
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. It is time for Perloff's draft rumor of the day. What do you have for us?
Okay, so we started the show. We're talking about how Drake May has passed our guy Jaden Daniels for the favorite to go number 2 overall.
Yep.
Now the big question I think in this draft is obviously how many quarterbacks go. To me, Michael Penix is the guy. And I feel like there is a popular sentiment that is going with me. A few days ago, Chris Sims, who has had a lot of success predicting how these quarterbacks will do, former NFL quarterback, of course, son of a successful quarterback. He was way ahead of the curve on Lamar Jackson, way ahead of the curve on Patrick Mahomes. Here's what he said after the Michael Penix Pro Day.
Okay.
Thought that the Michael Penix and Drake May Pro Days really showed the contrast in QBs. Penix is a machine throwing it over and over. May loses control of his throws more than any of the QBs in consideration. Penix is being underrated. He should be a top 20 pick. Now,
Chris Sims, to be fair, also has Drake May the lowest rated of this whole class.
Right.
He's got J.J. McCarthy higher than Drake May. he's got everyone higher than Drake May.
Okay. Here's another tweet from a former NFL quarterback. Actually, I think he's former. Chase Daniel's done playing football, right?
I think
he's
so.
at the NFL Network. He does a great job, by the way.
And he's filthy rich from just being a backup all those years.
Yeah.
That's off to Chase
He's
Daniel.
one of the great backup quarterbacks. Of course, Missouri Star, Sports Illustrated cover. They were actually at Missouri in title contention. That's something to say. Okay, Chase Daniel. You can't tell me Michael Penix Jr. is not one of the top 3 QBs in this year's class.
Wow.
If you've actually broken down the film and watched him. If you say different, you don't know ball. Wow. That's the worst thing you could say to someone. You don't know ball. He's a magician out there. He put on a performance for the ages versus Texas in the Sugar Bowl, which is funny. The semifinal game, which is funny. A lot of people pointed out, like, wow, if they had actually lost that game to Texas, then Michael Penix is probably the 5 pick, because Michael Penix then went on to play Michigan and struggled because he was under pressure the whole time, and actually probably hurt his draft stock, which is so silly, because if you think about that, winning a game, hurting your draft stock is bad. But guys like Chris Sims and Chase Daniel looking at tape and saying Michael Penix is awesome, a lot of fans are saying the same thing. I think a lot of people are like, I saw him at Washington. I saw him winning games. I saw him throwing the ball 40 yards downfield to Roma Dunze with a beautiful spiral. He is awesome. He ran a 4.56 at his pro day. That is blazing for a quarterback. And also, I think the key to that 4.56, it shows his knees are perfectly healthy.
Right.
You can't have arthritic knees and run a 4.56. Trust me, I have arthritic knees. I run a 6.5, not a 5.6.
That's generous.
Accurate. So I just think all this love from these kind of people says something to me. I think Michael Penix, if he falls out of the first round, I just do not get it. It's, to me, one of the most mind-boggling things that happen in recent drafts.
Interesting. All right, that's Perloff's NFL draft rumor of the day, which is those in the know, the Chris Simses, the Chase Daniels, the guys who have played quarterback in the league. They like Michael Penix and don't understand why he would be the last guy off the board.
Yeah, what do you think when these former quarterbacks are saying that? Does that mean anything to you?
Well, sure. I respect their opinion very much, but listen, Chris Sims has had some all-time hits with this. He was really on Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson when other people were not as high on them, but he was also super high on Zach Wilson. And I think what it goes to show is it's just a lot of, the situation you get to. And I know that's a cop-out answer, but for Michael Penix, I think it's going to be really important because he would be somebody who wants to start right away, right? You play 6 years in college. You don't want to get to the NFL and be sitting behind Jacoby Brissett. So I think a lot of it is going to be fit. Why would he go 3 to the New England Patriots? Doesn't make sense. The Patriots can redshirt a guy, essentially. You go in 2 to the Commanders.
Ooh, I like him with the Commanders, not the Patriots. I mean, the Commanders at least have receivers. That's something.
I want to go someplace where, that's why I feel like the Michael Penix to the Raiders thing is so great because you already have a receiver. If you're going to go a little further down, let's get you with Devontae Adams. Let's get you with some receivers where that big arm can do some damage and where you can, not feel maybe like you're running for your life all the time because the cupboard's so bare. I know the Raiders aren't a great, amazing team, but at least they've got something to work with. 2
other fits that are being mentioned. If I gave you a choice between the Raiders, Devontae Adams, great. But how about the Broncos, who pick right before the Raiders? Can you imagine giving Sean Payton a weapon like that at quarterback? Maybe that's even better to have a offensive genius, quote unquote, at coach. That's a good spot. I know they don't have great receivers. They don't have great talent. But I would take, if I'm a Penix guy, I would take Denver because of Payton or the Raiders. And the other team that comes up a lot is his local team now, Seattle, who they did bring in Sam Howell from Washington. They still have Geno Smith. But that's interesting because you say he has to play immediately. How about sitting behind Geno Smith for a year?
I don't like it. I don't like him really. I mean, listen, does anything bad happen if you sit here? Hendon Hooker is sitting in Detroit, and he was, we thought he ended up being a third-round pick, and he was hurt. But we thought, this is someone who's played a lot. He could step right in.
Well, I don't even think he was ready for training camp.
Maybe not. No, he wasn't. Yeah. But I'm just saying, I think you play 6 years in college, and I know the first 4 at Indiana were marred by injury, where he played 5 games, 6 games, 7 games, 3 games. Like, it wasn't a lot of body of work. But I want if I'm getting Michael Penix, I think it's because I'm putting him in right away. You've got all the experience in the world.
I don't know. He's not 42 years old. He's 23. I think you could still sit him a year behind Geno. The thing about Seattle is Penix talking about weapons. I mean, if you have DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and JSN, I mean, that is going to be a passing offense. I mean, it's funny. I think we're kind of saying the same thing. He's got to fall down in the draft to get in the right situation. So if I'm making a wild card rookie of the year draft bet, I am not ignoring Michael Penix because he could easily land on a better team. Although, I mean, there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks. It's going to be hard to. I think Jaden Daniels and Michael Penix are the first two hits because Caleb's in Chicago, which is still show me because are they going to open up their offense? I'm dubious.
So here's a question for you when it comes to just the draft. You and EJ have a bet how many quarterbacks are going to go in the first round and win sprints are on the line that Pete Bellotti is going to hold the whistle for. Is there going to be a quote-unquote Will Levis this year? Is there going to be somebody who gets invited to the draft? I mean, people believe that he was going to be a first-round pick so much that he's there with the family and the girlfriend and everything, and he falls to the second round where the Titans then trade up to get him. But again, it was day 2. Do we have a Will Levis, in this draft where somebody's going to be sitting around in the green room and sitting around? Because I have my candidate, but I don't know who yours is.
Well, I mean, it's going to be. It has to be Bo Nix or Penix, unless you're going to go off the board and say it's JJ.
I thought it might be JJ McCarthy. I know that he's got the efficiency numbers that everyone likes. I get that, but again, we didn't see the body of work nearly enough for me if I'm a general manager. And I know this is a projection, but I'd like to see a little bit more. And I'm wondering if JJ McCarthy is the guy who the smoke is getting so blown up because of what Jim Harbaugh is saying and everything that he ends up, unfortunately, being the Will Levis. Now watch him go second overall to the Commanders, but he's the guy who's the candidate to me to be the dude who's sitting in the green room waiting and waiting. And listen, maybe this puts a chip on his shoulder. It's obviously worked out well for Aaron Rodgers, had to sit around for a long time, and he's got a Hall of Fame career, but I think it's JJ.
Second show bet.
No, I don't
Get you in on the gassers.
No,
Maggie, I will bet you the gasser bet that JJ McCarthy's a top 12 pick.
No. I'm already wearing a singlet on Friday.
Bellotti.
No, I'm wearing a singlet on Friday with EJ. A show bet that has crossed the line. I got to take a.
Let's get in. I want this JJ McCarthy action big time.
I have to just take a step back for a moment. I bit off more than I could chew with the singlet bet. It's uncomfortable how little amount of clothing I was wearing in the test run of this singlet yesterday around a workplace. This isn't spring break. It's not Halloween. Felt like Halloween yesterday.
Right.
I'm taking a backseat to show bets for a little bit. I've got a couple on the table now. I'm not taking any more new show bets because I'm so embarrassed to wear this singlet. And by the way, we're going to wear them to the show on Friday. So if you want to watch the show, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, twitch.tv/CBS Sports Radio. If you've never checked out our YouTube channel, this might be the day to do it. EJ and I will be in our costumes, and Perloff is teasing that he might also be wearing something silly.
Bellotti, this is up to you since you were controlling the gassers. Should Maggie have to be in on this? I love watching Maggie run, by the way. It's one of the great things. We used to do this at the draft every year because she runs like Eric Dickerson. Like, she's got good speed, but she's so upright that the wind resistance slows her down on the second half of the 40.
I believe Forrest Gump is the comp.
Yes. Oh, my God. It's the exact form of Forrest Gump.
My player comp and my running comp is Forrest Gump.
I just think I'm buying the JJ McCarthy hype. There can't possibly be this much hype for a guy. Will Levis threw like 18 touchdowns his last year. I mean, JJ McCarthy's stats blow Will Levis away. There was a reason he fell in the second round. All these guys can't fall.
Wait,
I understand. I think Bo Nix would be the obvious faller.
So you think Bo Nix would be the Will Levis?
If I'm Bo Nix, I might not go to the draft because you might not go in the first round.
Sure.
It's going to be 2 of the X's. The first 4 are done, Maggie. And you can cut that, and I'll run extra gassers. It's going to be Caleb Williams. It's going to be Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and JJ McCarthy. There's just way too much love.
And you think it's that order? 1, 2, 3, 4?
Yeah. Well, by 6. I would take a bet. I bet you get pretty good. I think there are odds. Will it go 1, 2, 3, 4? It's like it's like plus 300. I would take that bet. I think it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Those 4 guys. I don't think McCarthy falls.
Bellotti, did we get am I running gassers? I don't want to.
Let's get her in.
No, come on.
Just because I run like Forrest Gump? You guys are mean.
No. The bet was made when you were here. It's EJ and it's Perloff. That's it.
And Pete has decided.
Yeah.
Drop the gavel.
A lot of mock drafts coming out. And one that I love, Lance Zierlein, NFL.com. He had 4 quarterbacks. he had both the X's, Penix and Nix, falling out of the first round. And he's really good. I am nervous.
How's your knee doing to run gas or
Well,
something?
that's a major issue. It's a major issue.
Did you get your sneakers with the wheels?
Yeah.
You finally got to a physical therapist that's not in some kind of infested basement somewhere. You got to some
I'm going to
above-ground
a very
place.
professional,
Yeah.
big-time PT because just in case I lose this bet, the draft's April 25th, I believe. I'm not going to wimp out of these gassers. I just want you to run them with me. Can I get him in the singlet? Would be even more amazing.
Oh, no. Misery loves company. George is in L.A., wants to weigh in on these draft prospects. Hey, George, what's up?
What's going on, Maggie? I haven't talked to you guys in a while. Don't worry about Forrest Gump. You're still a pretty lady. But besides that, let's get on to the subject. I think that it's either going to be Bo Nix or Michael Penix, the late second or late first or early second. It's just my feeling, but I could be wrong. It could be McCarthy, but I don't think so. Because there's too many people enamored with McCarthy up in the higher level.
Yeah. Or so they say.
But why are Penix and Nix falling, George?
Why? Because it's just propaganda and hearsay and just conversation. I mean, Penix throws a beautiful ball. He's left-handed, and he probably throws the best throw of all of them. But, it's just the way it is every year. They seem to have people that come and go, and they put up false narratives and so forth, and they try to get you to bite on somebody.
Interesting. George, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Good to talk to you. Is it the propaganda, or I think are just people doing a better job of keeping it close to the vest these days, too?
Could be.
I mean, we know Caleb Williams is going to be number one. That one's out there. That one's not a secret. But as far as 2 through the rest of the draft, the odds are flip-flopping daily.
I'm haunted by last year because the odds all along said Houston would not take C.J. Stroud. All these back-channel rumors that, C.J. Stroud's agent is Deshaun Watson's agent, and Houston would not go there. They didn't want David Mulugeta in the building.
Well, that's the propaganda that George is talking about.
So you can't trust anything. No, I think the Texans put out a lot of smoke signals that we're not taking C.J. Stroud so they could get C.J. Stroud. They totally outsmarted everybody, took C.J. Stroud, and he was a superstar. One thing we didn't talk about, remember that Washington's Brian Kelly said that Jaden Daniels will do well when he's in Washington, the LSU coach. Remember, the odds shot up that he's going to go number 2. Does that mean anything to us? Because I think the same thing happened with C.J. Stroud. Carolina said, we're going to love it when you're here in Carolina. So I don't know what to trust anymore, Maggie. I am totally dumbfounded by this.
I think Brian Kelly was trying to help his quarterback. Not that Jaden Daniels is going to need a lot of help.
No, I don't think Brian Kelly is as under control as you think he is.
No.
I think Brian Kelly just blurted that out, not knowing what he was talking about.
Yeah, I think he's just helping, like projecting, like, when he's the number 2 pick, because let's be honest, that helps Brian Kelly too.
Yeah, I don't think he was as purposeful about it. I think he just sort of said, well, I read a mock draft, he was number 2, so I'm just going to run with it.
Up next, lots more to unpack with the Iowa-LSU record-breaking game from the Elite Eight, but is there a dark side to what we saw in this game? We'll get to that next. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's the reigning Fortnite champion. She's a Call of Duty legend. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Record breaking. That's what you can call the Elite Eight matchup between Iowa and LSU that we watched on Monday night. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. More people tuned in to watch that women's basketball game than any of all time to watch women's hoops. Perloff, I think we hit the apex, though. And I think this is not a, hating on women's college basketball. I love where the game is and where it's going. But I think we had a perfect storm here with this game, the best way possible. You have the Caitlin Clark effect, which is she is a phenomenon and a generational talent, the star out of Iowa. And then you also had her foil. You have Angel Reese, who is the national title, reigning national title holder, along with her very polarizing coach, Kim Mulkey. And you had the sort of setup of the one versus one, the two alphas for their teams in Reese and in Caitlin Clark. it was perfect. It was a story that's easy to grab onto. And I just think going forward, yes, you're going to have Iowa versus UConn. Yes, you're going to have Paige Beckers. You know, she's a household name. I don't think she has the notoriety that Angel Reese did, though, after winning the title last year. And then if Caitlin moves on to that, it is likely going to be South Carolina. And they're just more of a juggernaut team that's more about team than maybe about one star, maybe Camille Cardozo. But again, I think this peaked in this tournament because of Reese and Caitlin Clark.
Really? You think so? You don't think it's because of Caitlin Clark?
I think it was because of the foil, too. I think it's the part of it is having the rivalry.
Yeah, I don't know, because she set all kinds of other records at different times over the last 2 years. I think people are tuning in for Caitlin Clark. And yes, the Reese thing helped. But last year they made $10 million before that even became a rivalry. I think LSU was definitely a charismatic team. But listen, and Kim Mulkey was present for plenty of low-rated college basketball finals. People are not tuning in for her. They're tuning in for Caitlin Clark. And I think the rating is going to be even bigger if she makes it to the final on Sunday. Because once you tune in for that LSU game, I think you're going to want to watch more. So I think the rating is going to be huge. They're going to set an all-time mark, I would think, if Iowa advances to the final. So the other thing, the big question, too, is this just because of Caitlin? I think what's going to happen next is Caitlin goes to the WNBA. They're going to break all their TV records. But I think that is going to help women's college basketball. Interest in sports is going to go up and up. And there's a few reasons. One, I think interest in women's sports are just going up. Sure. That's just all across the board. I think people get to know the names now because of Caitlin Clark, but the ads help too. I mean, every single ad now has a women's college basketball player on it. I know it's tournament time, but that was never like that. I can't remember any of the UConn stars being in national ads. Like, I don't know. There was a time during the games last weekend, the men's games, where 3 out of 4 ads had a women's college basketball player in them, most of it Caitlin.
Yeah, they did.
But Cameron Brink and Juju Watkins, who's only a freshman. So I think these ads will help market them. I think NIL is a big part of this. I think social media is a big part of this.
No doubt.
So I think all these factors are going to help the women's ratings stay pretty high.
Listen, I think they're going to stay high, but we're talking about the record-breaking ratings from LSU and Iowa from Monday night, and I think we hit the apex here, and I would love to think that all of the fans who love watching Caitlin Clark in college are going to go to the WNBA, but I am a bit skeptical, and here's why. It's not because of anything that's wrong with the WNBA or anything like that. It's about a love for college basketball, and I think it's been lost a little bit on the men's side because of the one and dones, and now with NIL has kind of made the men's sort of the talent is a lot more spread out, right?
But this is specifically a love for Caitlin Clark, though.
It is, but I think it's a love for her in college because she is bringing back and I think reminding people the women's game, if you will, is reminding people, mostly men, what they love about men's basketball on the college side, which was stars you got to know who stayed in one place for a while, and you got to know teams, and they created histories and rivalries. And now on the men's side, if you're really good, you're one and done. And I'm not begrudging any of the young men who decide to go to the NBA or transfer to a different school. I'm just saying the facts. The facts are, I think we liked watching college teams in the 80s and 90s because they stayed and they stayed together. And now you're seeing that on the women's side with another singular star who's come in on top of it, add that in, and it created a perfect storm. So I don't know if the casual fan follows Caitlin to the WNBA.
Okay, but let me ask you a question, though. Yeah. All that was true in 2017, or I'll just pick a year, where the men's game was already been defined by one and dones. And the women's team had continuity, but those ratings were nothing.
Well, again, add on Caitlin, right?
Right.
Add
to me, the factor, that's why I think the successful, it's not any of that stuff. It's Caitlin.
Oh, got it.
It's Caitlin.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to translate to the WNBA. I think those ratings are going to be bananas. I think the love for Caitlin Clark is not going to end. And honestly, I think women's college basketball is also going up. I think the two are going to help each other. I think the higher the WNBA ratings, the higher the college ratings. Also, I do agree with the men's stuff. It's hard to root for men's college basketball because of all the new faces every year.
Yeah.
But I just think that that's sort of discounting what's happening in women's college basketball.
No, I think what I'm trying to say is, yes, Caitlin is the phenomenon here, but I think there is something that people do like about her in college. Again, like will it go to the WNBA and all of a sudden you're going to see a lot of Indiana Fever jerseys out there?
Well, I don't know if you see a lot of Iowa jerseys.
Well, that's true. But, I mean, is Jason Sudeikis going to these games? I mean, he might.
I think he might. First of all, what's his connection to Iowa?
I don't know.
Maybe he does have one that I don't know about, but all of a sudden he's an Iowa fan? So, you think he's above jumping on the Indianapolis Fever? I mean, it's going to be Jason Sudeikis and Drake and DJ Khaled on the sideline next year.
I know. It's going to be all the celebs. But I just think that there is something that reminds people of the good old days of men's college basketball. They're seeing that in the women's game now. And I do think that's part of it. And listen, there's a lot of people who loved college basketball when guys did stay together and teams stay together who really didn't have a thought about the NBA and really didn't care about the NBA. There's a lot of people now, like, we love the NBA, but it turns some people off, you know? Pete doesn't like the NBA since LeBron James's decision. I mean,
super teams, right?
Super teams, all of that. So, you know, just because you go pro doesn't mean everyone's going to follow you. Doesn't mean everyone's in love with pro basketball. We've seen it.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I do think that Zion had success at Duke. He was the most watched thing. President Obama came to a game. They made national TV every game. I think it's the most any team's ever been on national TV. Mm-hmm. And then 17 of the first 19 games, they put the Pelicans on TBS. They're like, well, he was so popular, and the ratings were bananas, and then he got hurt. So I do think it can translate. I think people love stars. More than they like teams, I think they love stars. So that's the best thing for college basketball, women's college basketball. They got to keep creating these singular superstars.
Yep, and it's not easy, though. Like, there's a reason why we call them generational talents, and we overuse this. Like, every quarterback now is a generational talent. Caitlin really does fit the mold.
Well, yeah, you say that, but then Paige Beckers was the first freshman to ever win the Player of the Year.
That's true.
And then Juju Watkins just set the all-time freshman scoring record. So it does seem like they're generating stars at a high rate.
Yeah, but Paige was, when she won that Rookie of the Year, it didn't.
No, she won Player of the Year.
Player of the Year, pardon me. In her first year, listen, it's an incredible accomplishment.
Yeah, she's the most hyped women's college ball coming in. There's never been another Paige Beckers.
Okay, but has it had even 1/8 of the success of what Caitlin's done?
She got hurt.
Right, which happens. But again, I think that it's Caitlin. It's her success, and I think it's her in college that people love this combo, and they love the combination with Angel Reese.
Can we get up? When does the Indiana Fever start their season?
I think let's get an Indiana Fever schedule.
I mean, have you ever looked in early April for an Indiana Fever schedule? Yeah, they play the Sun on May 14th, and then they play the Liberty on May 16th. I mean, come on. You tell me you're not going to tune into those? What are you doing on May 14th? You got nothing going on.
Do you know what the next day is?
May 15th.
Yeah. My birthday.
Oh.
We could do a little Maggie's birthday at one of these games.
In Phoenix? That's
Wait, I thought you said they're playing the Liberty.
In Indiana.
Ah, shoot.
Yeah. Then they come to the Liberty on May 18th. Watch. That'll be a hot ticket because I think the Caitlin effect, and I think these two working together. I don't think you have to say, people are just going to be stuck on the college game and not go to WNBA. I think all boats rise. Help me out with this expression.
No, I'm not doing this again. The rising tide lifts all boats.
Yes, I think Caitlin is going to be good for both sports. You don't think the WNBA is going to get a big bump here?
I think they might get the Zion-like bump, but if it's not sustainable or if the Fever aren't very good, if they're not in the playoffs or whatever, I mean, they're still a rebuilding team. There's a reason why they have the number 1 overall pick. Then I think people tune away. I think it's a summer sport, which makes it harder, I think, to get a big rating. And I'm just trying to be realistic about this than being so, oh my gosh, pie in the sky, this is going to last forever and we're just going to find the next Caitlin, the next Caitlin. I don't think it's like that. In the NBA, it's not like that. In football, it's not like that. You know, on men's sports, it's not as easy as just, hey, one star's gone, let's replace him with another. We're already talking about what's the NBA going to do when LeBron James retires and Steph Curry. You know, we've talked about what the NFL is like post-Brady. I mean, the NFL is a little different, but...
Right, but traditionally, especially on the men's side, when a guy has a great college career, especially back in the day when they went to college, that everyone carried over in the NBA. Michael Jordan was the biggest star in college basketball for 2 years, but had countless SI covers. And then everybody followed him to the NBA and was so stoked. So that's how it works. College stars become pro stars.
But then what happened after Jordan retired?
Well, I'm just saying... but
it took a while to find a new
college
face.
Basketball was hot in 1983, and that immediately transferred to the NBA. Larry Bird and Magic made huge headlines by playing each other in the finals in college. That translated to the NBA. Shaq only was a medium star at LSU. But I think that a college star can help the pros immediately. And Caitlin's going to have a huge bump. Now, you do bring up an interesting question. How long will we sit there if she's a 500 or below team? Counter argument, she should be able to hoist up a lot of shots.
Yeah, right. She's going to have the green light again. 855-212-4CBS. Okay, you are welcome to weigh in on this. And the question, are you going to follow, if you're someone who's been caught up in the Caitlin mania, are you someone who's going to follow her to the WNBA? I mean, listen, it's going to be on your TV. The WNBA, ESPN,
yeah, but it's
ABC,
always been on your TV, and people have always ignored it.
Right, but they might put her on your TV just as much, right?
I'm telling you right now, her first game is going to be the most watched WNBA game of all time.
I won't disagree with you, but I don't know how high of a bar that is for them to clear.
Yeah, well, it says something.
No, it would say something. 855-212-4CBS. Okay, lots to do. Later in this hour, former Purdue star Robbie Hummel is going to join us. He was in tears when Purdue went to and won their way to the Final Four for the first time since 1980. 83.
80. Joe Barry Carroll.
Purdue was 80, I think.
83 was NC
83?
State. No, 83 was NC State.
Right.
80 was Purdue.
Yes.
And
Robbie-
Alabama was never.
First timer. We get to Robbie in about a half an hour. If you want to hang on for that, we hope you will. Meanwhile, a story we have not talked about, Perloff, in about a week has been Shohei Ohtani, the gambling scandal. Eddie is in New Hampshire, has a thought on Shohei and how the situation is going to play out. Good morning, Eddie.
Hey, good morning, guys. Well, both situations are bad. It's either Shohei knew everything that was going on,
right,
or he's that stupid.
Well, or just got duped. How do you think it ends, though?
Got duped, right? Both are really, really bad, right?
How do you think it ends? What do you think is the truth?
I'm going to tell you exactly how this ends. Major League Baseball is your network is CBS, right?
Yep.
They're coming after you guys to stop talking about this thing. They want it. They want to pull up the rug, just sweep it underneath, and call it a Crocodile Dundee.
Wait a minute. Eddie, hold on one second. And thank you for the call. I get it. The faith in the media right now might be the lowest it's ever been in my lifetime. I would just like to say, pulling back the curtain here, I've never had an executive come to me and say, do not talk about this subject.
Oh, me neither. But
that doesn't happen. People think, the bosses hand us a rundown that just says Dallas Cowboys on every segment. It's not how it works. We make our own decisions about what we talk about.
Well, I'll tell you who has no impact on what networks talk about. Rob Manfred certainly does not have a line to any media outlet, because I've never in a million years heard anybody in any media outlet, no matter how big or how small, say something nice about him. So if he's telling the media what to say, he's not doing a very good job. And MLB, CBS, they feel kind of worlds apart. CBS, of course, the channel of the Masters, the NCAA tournament, NFL football. I don't think they care what happens with Shohei, do they?
We have the green light. We have the
we can rip Shohei to shreds.
We have a Caitlin Clark style green light to talk about that gambling scandal as much as we want to, for as long as we want to.
It does feel, by the way, the caller does bring up a really interesting point. What's happened to the Shohei story? Are they low key burying it, delaying it? Like, all of a sudden, I don't hear people talking about Shohei as much.
Well, I think there's investigations that are going on. So what I would gather is that reporters are still gathering facts. The case against the bookmaker in Southern California has already been going on for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And we just got to the Ohtani betting slip, the one with his name on it.
Yeah.
Not the betting slip. I'm sorry. The wire transfer. Let me be right about that. The wire transfer. We just got to that. And this person has been under investigation for 18 months or more.
Well, I think the Dodgers and MLB do want it to be slow played and take a lot of time and let Shohei get a lot of success on the field under his belt. The more they can wait, the less impact this will have. But the problem is they don't want to suspend him for the postseason. So that's a bit of a problem. But
so now there's a conspiracy theory brewing in the chat that I cut Eddie in New Hampshire off so fast because I've been told by the big brother, the powers that be, the bosses, not to talk about the Ohtani betting scandal. I promise that's not true. Eddie we got to the point.
Yeah, and so if we didn't talk about it and he's guilty, like, what does that do for us? Like, if we find out in a month or 2 months, oh, yeah, he's guilty and he's banned from baseball, well, what did that do for us that for 2 months we ignored it because some shadowy figure said, hey, don't talk about this thing, and maybe he wouldn't have actually bet on baseball? Like, that doesn't, what we say doesn't impact what he did.
No, we're not burying anything.
Well, by the way, and if we were going to bury anything for a league, I mean, the NFL, yeah, we can talk.
We'll sweep some things under the rug.
Yeah.
They've got more things.
You better at least be the NFL if you're going to ask us to sweep something under the rug. Baseball, now we're good.
Perloff, don't joke about that. People are.
Well, I mean,
you.
come on. Like, baseball has no power. That's why it's ridiculous to think that the media is slow playing this piece of baseball. The media follows what's hot, and baseball is not hot.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Coming up, this is interesting beef. Two titans in sports who are at each other's throats. We'll get to that next. And we said, final segment of the show, Robbie Hummel, former Purdue star, is going to join us. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. A lot of polls to vote on today. We have our one-hit wonder bracket, but I also went rogue, put up my own poll. Do you have a problem with Luka Doncic winning the MVP if the Mavs go out in the first round? It's really close, Maggie. 80% say no, they do not have a problem with Luka winning the MVP. My argument did not sell. We also have a great show debate today. Who's the greatest college basketball player of all time? And it goes to show you whoever has first choice usually wins this poll. So Lou Alcindor, of course, is running away with it. No one's even close. But I think it's still a good debate. I had Bill Russell, you had Breonna Stewart, EJ had Maravich, and Bellotti had Michael Jordan. But Lou Alcindor is pretty good. I mean, that guy didn't lose a lot of college basketball games. But you can vote at Maggie and Pearl. And please, just somebody vote on my side for once.
What are you begging?
Yes, I'm
like
begging for votes.
You're going to ask for $5 next?
Yeah.
Let's go to the phones quickly, 855-212-4CBS. At the end of the last segment, we were talking just quickly about Shohei Ohtani and the scandal, which has kind of died down a little bit. Quinn is in Austin, has a thought on it. Hey, Quinn, what's up?
Hey, guys. As we unpack this mystery and kind of answer the question as to if he was duped or a victim of fraud or theft, as we think about the timeline, I wonder if this is a long-standing investigation into the bookmaker. Is there a date? There clearly has to be on that wire transfer.
Yep.
If this happened a year ago, doesn't he have accountants and advisors that might say, hey, what are you doing sending this money out the door? And has that been brought up much in the media? I'll hang up and listen. Thanks, guys.
Quinn, thank you. You're not the only person to bring this up. You want to know who else brought this up on a recent podcast? Joe Madden, Ohtani's former manager with the Angels, did an interview with Jason Stark, and he said he was dumbfounded that Ipe could have been, responsible or could have been stealing from Shohei. But even Joe Madden said, I still have a question. How could the $500,000 wire transfers have gotten through without Shohei knowing about it? He said his financial guys, even if Ipe is the translator, the financial guys like his agent would have flagged that, or maybe the agent, maybe no, but financial people around Shohei who have knowledge of his financial situation would have flagged multiple $500,000 wire transfers. That's from Joe Madden, his former manager.
Yeah, I mean, you're left to a lot of speculation. Gosh, who knows? Maybe Ipe had something on somebody and they had to support him here. Maybe Shohei was making bets is the worst case scenario. That's a great question. And that's what we have to answer. But it is, I actually like what the caller last hour said. I feel like the Shohei team is like in a delay mode. They're like, let's obfuscate this as much as possible. 6 months from now, are we still going to be as interested? Can they wait this one out?
We're going to get more interested because now we're going to be getting in the playoffs. Now the Dodgers might be in the World Series.
If he could get through the World Series, I think that's the Dodgers, MLB, and Shohei's plan. Just get me through the season.
Delay. Well, knowing our court system.
Yeah, I mean, it's really possible.
Okay, we've got results for you. The Maggie and Perloff March Madness bracket of one-hit wonders. Now, EJ, these are the results, and these songs are moving on to the Elite Eight, right?
Correct.
Here we go. So, in the cruising and turn it up regions of the Maggie and Perloff one-hit wonder bracket, in the cruising region, talk about a David versus Goliath. The number one seed moves on in this region. Take On Me. Well, they will face off against the 15 seed, a 1 versus 15. That's cool. Stacy's mom. All right, and now in the Turn It Up region, the Maggie and Perloff bracket of one-hit wonders. This is results from the Sweet 16. The number 1 seed in this region moves on. It's Rapper's Delight.
I said a hip hop, the hip it to the hip hop. You don't stop the rocker to the bang bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat.
They took out No Rain by Blind Melon, and they will be facing the 2 seed in this region. It is Bittersweet Symphony who advances.
No change, I can change, I can change, I can change. But I'm here in my mode. I am here in my mode, and I'm a million.
And they took out Jump by Criss Cross. So there you have it. On to this half of the bracket. On to the Elite Eight is Take On Me, Stacy's Mom, Rapper's Delight, and Bittersweet Symphony. You got a 115 in one region and then a 1-2 in the other region.
That is 4 songs with absolutely nothing in common.
Except for that they're one-hit wonders.
Yeah. Right. But they honestly, you could not pick 4 more opposite songs. So Take On Me, Stacy's Mom, Rapper's Delight, and Bittersweet Symphony.
I'll never forget our boss, Spike Eskin, says, you're going to really upset a lot of Verve fans because Bittersweet Symphony, because they're not a one-hit wonder. I was like, that is a risk we're willing to take around here.
Well, I will say, though, I mean, for all the cracks that have been thrown at or whatever, rocks that have been thrown at the committee, 1-2 in the Turn It Up region suggests that the committee seating in that region, at least, was correct.
That whole region was so weak, though.
We got the number 1 seed in the cruising region, too.
There you go.
Take On Me. So I think the committee did a damn good job.
Well, that's because you made Macarena face. What was my song that I love so much? Tainted Love.
That Gerardo. Oh, never mind. There was that Rico Suave song in the first round, too.
Gerardo?
Yeah, Gerardo.
That song got like 2 votes.
Oh, Rico
Suave.
Was for me.
Yeah.
Bogish. Our own Rico Suave. You got headlines?
Wish. The best rivalry in the NBA right now is not Lakers Celtics or Perloff against MVP voters. It's Suns owner Matt Ishbia and Cavs owner Dan Gilbert. They are both in the mortgage business. Neither has hid his dislike for the other. This is not a new hatred, but this bit of audio is new. This is a leaked voicemail that Ishbia left someone last year when his mortgage company passed Gilbert's for number 1 in the country. The voicemail was released this week on Pablo Torre's podcast.
Hey, buddy, hope you're doing good. Just want to say I love you. We took those suckers down, them, and we're going to keep sticking it to them forever. Those guys, we're number 1. We kick out of them. Brokers are number 1. UWM's number 1. You're number 1. We're all number 1 together. And them. I hate them with all my heart. And we're going to keep kicking their ass.
This is kind of like the voicemail I left Pete on Monday after Maggie said I was dodging punishments. Wait.
I just told you now.
Go back, because I
can't.
I wasn't listening to your introduction to that thing at all. So he's bragging about their mortgage company passing the other mortgage company?
In the AP poll that week, they got more votes. So he called up a buddy and said, yeah, screw Dan Gilbert. We beat him. You're awesome. I'm awesome.
Yeah.
He's stupid. We win.
I mean, geez.
Is there anything more distasteful than 2 billionaires fighting over money?
Yes, over mortgages, especially the state of housing in America today. Like, honestly, both those guys should share a cell in prison, not be bragging about this.
Yes.
Scumbag. Finally. Listen, be someone who rents and is looking to buy, like, honestly, both those guys, I'm glad that both their teams are going to be disappointing in the playoffs because I hate them both.
Yes. Perloff has finally come over to the
98
owners are immoral side.
Well, I mean, listen, if you're an owner, just stay low-key about your business. Like, hide it.
It was a leaked voicemail. He didn't put it out there.
Got it.
I will say, though, like...
It wasn't his introductory press conference.
Like, I think what was so amazing about it to me was how quickly he got from how excited he was he won to just, I hate Dan Gilbert.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, hey, buddy. Like, it sounded like it was going to go a totally different way. Hey, buddy, good to hear from you. I hate those guys. Bleep them. Bleep those guys. We're number 1. Bleep them. Did I tell you again? Bleep them.
It sounds like he's trying to do some Wolf of Wall Street impersonation or something. Like, we ain't bleeping leaving. Like, man, what are you on? I'm just kidding. He's on nothing. But it does sound like that Martin Scorsese
The
could have.
first thing I thought of.
Right, could have.
Wolf of Wall Street?
Yes.
Like Martin Scorsese wrote the copy for that, the script for that email. Voicemail.
Jokic shoved them in the playoffs last year, and people gave Jokic a lot of crap for it. No one should feel bad about Jokic shoving this guy.
Yeah.
After listening to that, I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah. Wow, I'm such a huge Devin Booker fan. I'm still rooting for the Suns a little bit, but I hate this guy.
What are the other headlines, Bogus?
On the court last night, the Lakers stayed hot. Winners of 7 of 8 now after a 128-111 victory in Toronto. LA does stay 9th in the West, but now just 2.5 games behind the Pelicans for the 6th spot. After the game, LeBron had to answer questions about Bronny's future because legendary writer Dick Hoops Weiss tweeted that Bronny was in the transfer portal.
Bronny's his own man. He has some tough decisions to make. And when he's ready to make those decisions, he'll let us all know. But as his family, we're going to support whatever he does.
Now, this made my night. If you don't know who Hoops Weiss is, he is famous, at least in the eastern half of the country, for covering college basketball. He has the world's worst hairpiece that he apparently is aware of it being terrible and is okay wearing it. Yeah. Now, he also, if you follow him on Twitter like I do, he's usually on like a 12-hour delay with news. Like something happens at night, and in the morning, there's a tweet from him saying, not in a way to steal thunder, just like that's when he found out that so-and-so was hired as the head coach of the new school.
No.
He's got a little Magic Johnson in him in terms of his social media presence. Magic is famous because he's famous. Sounds like just an Associated Press release.
Minus the final scores. The one thing he doesn't include that Magic does is they scored more points than them.
Yeah.
But no one believed this tweet yesterday because it's not what Hoops does.
Right.
And so people were delicately like, we should wait, maybe not. Like all the portal reporters were like, he's not in the portal now. They were time stamping this. And then LeBron had to be asked about it. The only thing we didn't get was LeBron talking specifically about hoops, which would have made my day.
Yeah. By the way, though, not a denial from LeBron. I think Dick Weiss might end up being right about this.
But he's not in the portal. Like he's not
in the portal.
Yes.
Hoops is wrong about that.
Yeah, and he came out and said, hey, like, he came out and said, hey, I'm wrong. Like, I don't have a source saying he's going to the portal, but I hope he does.
Right. It'd be
That
good
was the
for
tweet
him.
that later happened. Later in the
attempted save.
But his phone went nuts.
But again, LeBron did not deny it.
No. And
also, bad job by you. Could have had a burner account. Dick Weiss's toupee.
Is that not taken already?
Could have been running it this whole time.
I mean, I'm not
as
kidding.
long as he's aware of it now, we can all make fun of it.
That tweet last night changed my entire day. My phone was buzzing. I was on the phone with people because everybody that I in college basketball knows hoops, and no one believed it. Everyone thought it was sweet, and it was everywhere.
EJ sent it to us immediately.
Yeah.
Not because of Bronny. They weren't. People were texting because of Dick Weiss. Is that what I'm to understand?
Because there's no way he knew that.
Yes.
There's no way he had that scoop. And my theory is because the day before, Monday, Pat Boyle saw a tweet from somebody who I think covers West Virginia basketball that Bronny was going into the portal, and Boyle thought that was breaking news. My guess is Twitter algorithm for hoops showed him that, and then he tweeted, "Hey, Bronny's in the portal," and that's how we got that tweet yesterday.
Well, my brother sent me the funniest tweet because he also was like, I would triple verify this if you go with it tomorrow. He sent me a text
to be
saying,
fair to Hoops, is he 85?
Oh, he's up there for sure. He said Hoops may have very well read an old April Fool's joke and then put it up there as well.
Oh, no.
But because everybody loves him, no one would just flat out go, this is not true. Like there's no way that Hoops knows this. It was so delicate and so respectful. Everybody going like, we should wait and see. What does verbalcommits.com say? How about the portal report? Like no one wanted to run with it, but then there were headlines everywhere, and LeBron had to be asked about it.
Well, there's a comment in the chat from GG who says Bronny enters the portal, transfers to Duquesne.
Right.
LeBron retires, decides to go to college, goes to Duquesne. They get to play together.
Wow.
In college.
Wow, that's amazing.
I don't think LeBron can go backwards.
Yeah, I mean, he's still got I don't think you have eligibility once you've been pro for 21 years.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at some odds here. Duquesne's fourth because but Oregon,
LeBron's high school friend Drew, what's his last
Joyce.
name? Drew Joyce, thank you, is now the new head coach of Duquesne.
Right. And what's a younger LeBron?
Bryce.
Right. Ohio State second, Duquesne third, But he's got to go to Duke, right? Can we get Bronny at Duke? Is that possible?
Oregon, Nike.
I understand, but I think he should go to Duke.
He's got to go someplace he can actually play.
SMU follows Coach
he's
Andy
going to the
Enfield.
NBA.
Well, he was just at SC, a 12-win team, and he was getting, marginal minutes. He needs to go to a Duquesne, someplace like that, where he can play 20, 25 minutes a night, get up shots, show what he can do. If he goes to Duke, Duke's going to have some 5-star recruit that should be playing for him.
Yeah. Duke's 6th in odds, so they're in there. But like LeBron loves Duke. We got to see him on TV.
Coach K.
What's the point of putting him at Duquesne? We're never going to see him play
It'll
there.
be way better for his NBA prospects if he goes to Duquesne instead of Duke.
Well, he goes to Duquesne and then he could transfer to Duke.
That he could do that too.
I mean, why go to Duquesne then? What's the point? You're saying Bronny's got to be in the NBA in a year and a half so LeBron can retire.
No, I like this
Can't
from
send
the
him
chat.
all over the country playing college basketball.
I like this from the chat. Let's get LeBron back to school.
That's better.
It's also a good movie.
Imagine sitting
a
in
loophole.
in chemical engineering, and LeBron pulls up next to you and it's like, "Hey, what's going on? You do the homework last night?" That'd be amazing.
Look, we've already seen Space Jam 2. LeBron is not afraid to make another bad movie.
Yeah.
So
back to school too. He'll play the Rodney Dangerfield role. I like what we're doing here.
But do not remake
Sandler. Sandler, by the way, is listening right now and already had it green lit.
There's a script writers on it. A team is on it right now.
Yeah. My movie Hustle. That was a LeBron Adam Sandler joint. This is totally happening. You guys understand. Whoever said that in the chat knows more than Dick Weiss.
And what a fall from grace. Bronny used to be better than NBA players, and now LeBron's going to stiff arm the NCAA to get eligibility to play at Duquesne with his son.
Yes.
That's how that dream's going to come to fruition.
Or it'll be a big three team of LeBron James, Bronny James, and Caitlin Clark. It'll be the greatest big three team in the history of the sport.
I think that we've learned that Duquesne is the new Pittsburgh, is the new LA. So congratulations, Pittsburgh. I'm sorry, Bogish. We've got to dip out because Robbie Hummel, Purdue legend, is going to join us in just a few minutes to talk about the Boilermakers back in the Final Four for the first time since 1980. Do not move. It's Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, Purdue on to the Final Four for the first time since 1980. One of the absolute legends to ever suit up for the Boilermakers is Robbie Hummel. Does a fantastic job calling games both on TV and radio for Westwood One. He joins us now. Robbie, congratulations to your Boilermakers. I know it was an emotional moment when Purdue beat Tennessee to go to the Final Four. What were you feeling as, you know, they're cutting down the nets and this dream's become a reality?
Well, a lot of pride, you know, in the program, just from understanding the history of all the times that Purdue has come up just a little bit short. And, you know, the recent history of the Fairleigh Dickinson loss, I probably was a little bit embarrassed too, because I looked around and I'm like, oh man, there's a lot of cameras around here. And, you know, I blame one of the assistant coaches is Paul Lusk, and he recruited me to Purdue back in 2005 and 2006. And Elliot Bloom, who's the director of basketball operations, he was at Purdue when I was there, and those two guys came over before Coach Painter came on to be interviewed by us. So they softened me up. And then Coach Painter was saying all this stuff, and I mean, he was really being nice about our recruiting class, and you know, it just was between them winning and then those guys doing that and him saying what he was saying. It was a little bit overwhelming, but I care about Coach Paint so much, and I'm so happy for him because he's been one of the elite coaches in college basketball, but he hadn't gotten over the hump yet. So now that he has, he'll be looked at as one of those coaches, which I'm really happy for him because he does things the right way. He's a good guy, and on top of that, he's a really good coach.
Robbie, how big a role did losing as a 1 seed last year play in this year's run? How did Coach Painter use that to his advantage?
I think it played a massive role. You know, it was interesting watching them beat Gonzaga, and I could see on the monitor, you know, when you're doing the radio, they've got a monitor that's attached to the TV feed. So you can kind of see what TV is seeing. And they showed Miles Colvin, one of their freshmen, advancing them with the sticker, you know, on the bracket in the locker room. And no one was clapping. You see other teams, you know, Illinois was doing like a squirt gun fight. Like you could see that there was really a singular goal, and that was to kind of avenge last year, make the Final Four, and win a national title. You Yeah, they've been so focused all year long. That was my 22nd Purdue game that I've called, which is an absurd number of games to do. But I've seen it up close and personal this year. They've been really focused. They've been really driven, and that loss played a big part in that.
Robbie Hummel is joining us. He is calling the Purdue games. He's been calling games on Westwood One, doing TV as well, does a fantastic job. And just the emotion that overcame you in the moment when Purdue goes to the Final Four, it became national news. And we're so pleased that you could carve out some time for us today. You know, Zach Edey is the headliner for Purdue. Everything runs through him. What is something that we don't know about Zach Edey? Because it seems like he's, we're seeing a lot of emotion from him in this tournament run. Did you talk to him after the game, and what did you find from him or take away from that?
I didn't get a chance to talk to him. I talked to, I think, every other player, except he was off doing all the media stuff that you have to do post-win. And I saw the two other guys that were with him. I think it was three, actually. I think Lance Jones, Braden Smith, and Fletcher Lawyer had walked back, but Zach had to go do something separate. So, I didn't get to talk to him, but I thought about the game that's an iconic performance in the NCAA tournament. You go for 40 and 16 when on the other side, there's another first team All-American who's going for 39. And, both those guys were phenomenal. But for Zach to do that in a game where you're looking to send your team back to the Final Four for the first time since 1980. I mean, he was unbelievable. And I thought too, not just the scoring, but the way he did it. Everybody knows he wants to go to his right jump hook. Well, he went to his left hand 2 or 3 times, gotten up and under. That was really nice. I thought he was really poised and really focused. And then defensively, the block on Dalton Connect at the end of the game seals the deal. He was spectacular. He's been like that really all year long. The funny thing, I guess something that maybe people don't know about Zach, I was on campus. I was going to play golf with a buddy of mine who was a manager back when I played. This would have been when he was a freshman. So probably 2019. No, 2000. It was post-COVID. COVID had already happened. So it was 2000. I think it was the spring of 2020. So like May, and we were going to play golf, and we were eating breakfast outside at this restaurant that happened to be open because of the outdoor dining. And Zach is walking down the street. I've never met him. Now he's 7'4", so we're all like, oh, wow, that's Zach Edey. That's him. And he was coming to pick up food. He starts talking to us, and we're talking to him, and he sits down, and my buddy who's a manager is kind of a germaphobe. So like he's not the best with germs. And Zach says something like, I had COVID like 5 days ago. The look on my friend's face.
Oh gosh.
And he had been like cleared to go to class, or maybe it was 6 or 7, but he was cleared to be out. But I could see on my friend's face that the look of like, oh God, the germs at this table have to be just there. Even though we were outside, even though he was past whatever the period was at that time that was acceptable, that was pretty funny.
I'm not sure
but
what
the fact
sign.
that we never met him, and he came over and introduced himself and could not have been nicer was really, really cool.
Well, a 7'4" guy, the germs are so far away, though, that maybe science says it's safe. I'm not sure.
I thought you were going to say he had ordered one of everything at the restaurant. And his to-go order was like, just a foot tall. I'm sorry, Perloff.
I don't remember what he ordered. I wish I could remember that. But I do remember the look on my friend's face of being like, we're definitely getting COVID.
All right, Robbie, I want you to be honest here. Give me a scouting report. What do you do if you're NC State? DJ Burns is listed at 6'9". I don't know if he's 6'9". They have Ben Middlebrooks. They have some big guys to throw at Zach Edey. But is it going to be enough? What kind of approach do you think NC State will take?
Yeah, because of the lack of depth that they have, you mentioned Middlebrooks, who's pretty big at 6'10", Diarra 6'9", but behind those guys, they don't have anybody that's really a big guy. They've got, I believe Ernest Ross is like 6'9", 200, but you'd be giving up 100 pounds, like they don't have anybody really big beyond their top 3. So I think you have to double team him. If you play him straight up, I feel like all of those guys are going to be in foul trouble. I think NC State's going to have to double him. and rotate out and just hope that Purdue has a shooting night like they did against Tennessee. Because of their lack of depth, I don't see how you can play him straight up. And that's going to be an issue for the Wolfpack because they've been on this incredible run, and props to them for winning 5 games in 5 days at the ACC tournament, and then doing what they've done to get here to make the Final Four is amazing. They've beaten Duke twice in the last month. They've beaten Carolina. Really a remarkable run. But I think you've got to double team him. I don't see how you can play him straight up when you've only got 3 bigs on your roster.
Robbie, we only have about a minute left. Zach Edey's pro prospects. What do you see for him at the next level?
Yeah, I just think because of his productivity, because the draft is weak, because of his improvements he's made defensively, he protects the rim. He's been better in pick and roll. He's got to keep improving there. I think that he's going to play in the NBA, and I think he's going to be a guy that maybe he'll be situational. It'll depend on how he develops, but with the way the draft is, with the way he's played, I just don't see any way, especially as the NBA has kind of shifted back, the pendulum swings back towards bigger people. Now, those bigger people are very perimeter oriented. Jokic and Embiid are your last 2 MVPs. They're both 7 foot tall. I think there's going to be a place for him. It'll be interesting to see what he can do with that. But I fully believe that Zach Edey will play in the NBA and will be on an NBA roster next year.
Robbie Hummel is a legend for the Purdue Boilermakers, now gets to be a spectator as they go on to the Final Four, an emotional scene for everyone. You said it was embarrassing, Robbie. We loved it as the audience. It was heartwarming. Thank you so much for making time for us today, and good luck to your Boilermakers.
No problem. Thanks so much.
Appreciate that. And Robbie did a great job on Westwood One, as he always does.
Absolutely.
Yes, on the radio call.
That is a funny story about Zach Edey. Just imagine, I'm just picturing 2 guys sitting at a table and looking, you have to basically look, it's like you're looking at the sun if Zach Edey comes. So I actually wouldn't be nervous if he just had COVID because his head has got to be 6 feet away from you.
Yeah, and that was a story from 2020, by the way, if you're just joining us. Zach Edey doesn't have COVID now. He's fine. But interesting about what NC State has to do to Edey. This is not going to be easy. They have their big guy in DJ Burns, but one big guy is not another big guy. There's 7'4" and 300 pounds, and then there's 6'9" and 250 or 280.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have DJ Burns on him one-on-one a lot at all. And the thing is, I'm actually a big fan of the way Ben Middlebrooks plays. A bit of a spaz. I like. He's going to foul out in 30 seconds against Edey. That's the problem. Are you betting Purdue because of this issue? Robbie painted a kind of a tough picture for NC State.
Yeah, I mean, how can you count out NC State at this point?
I know. There's no logic
been defying the odds.
Yeah.
I mean, they need to hit a 40-footer just to go to overtime against UVA in the ACC tournament to even keep this thing going. So who knows? But no, Purdue definitely has an advantage. Thank you, DJ Stewart. Thank you to Pete Pilati. Thank you, Andrew Bogish, Andrew Kaplan. Weedo's Coffee Drinkers, the chat was on fire today. Thank you guys so much. And to Robbie Hummel, just joined us. We are back tomorrow, everyone. Late.